on the line. And then in the second half, a big call, a red card for Jade Riviere, a second yellow for a poor challenge. And then neither side can capitalise on the final second half. And at full time, it is Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. Former Wales forward Helen Ward. What did you make of that game, Helen?
Yeah, I mean, it was entertainment to a point, but I must say I was expecting goals when I arrived here this afternoon, so disappointed not to see any of those. I think obviously the game turns a little bit on the red card and Manchester United's plans go out the window, and I think that was shown in the substitution of Simi Awujo after only coming on 10 minutes before. I think it showed the mindset of them and their manager, but at the end of the day they've come here, they've got a point, kept a clean sheet against 11 players, so you have to give them credit for that. For Arsenal, it's the same old story really, dominating the ball for the most part of the game, but just not able to make it count and not able to create anything of real note in the game, and that's probably the biggest worry for them.
Yeah, indeed. Helen, thank you very much. Helen Ward, former Wales, Arsenal and Chelsea forward, with me today on 5 Sports Extra. Let's have a quick look at the top end of the table, what it looks like after this afternoon's game. So a point between Arsenal and Manchester United. So City still top of the table, 6 points clear at the top, 30 points for them. Chelsea in second, they both play tomorrow, and of course so Arsenal move a point up, 23 points for them, a point below Chelsea, and a point below Arsenal is Manchester United with 22. You've got Tottenham below them, and then London City, Brighton, Aston Villa, Leicester City, Everton, who take on the leaders tomorrow, West Ham and Liverpool still yet to pick up a win on 3 points. A reminder that you can watch Liverpool against London City Lionesses tomorrow from 2:30 on the BBC iPlayer and the BBC Sport website, and all the goals and highlights from the weekend will be on the Women's Football Show on BBC One at 11:40. But if you can't stay up that late, and they will be available on the red button earlier on and on the iPlayer all next week. Meanwhile, for the rest of your Saturday, you're just getting started really. You're going to be near to your radio or wherever you listen to the BBC, because there's so much FA Cup third round football this afternoon and some rugby union later today to enjoy too. So here goes. On 5 Live at 3, it's Fulham against Middlesbrough, followed by Spurs against Aston Villa at 5:45, and it's rounded off at 8 o'clock with Charlton against Chelsea. Following us here on Sports Extra, it's Manchester City against Exeter City, then Bristol City versus Watford at 5:40. And then at 7:55 there's European Champions Cup Rugby Union commentary from Leicester Tigers and Bayonne. Sports Extra 2, it's just as busy. Newcastle against Bournemouth at 3, followed by Cambridge against Birmingham at 5:40, and at 8 it's Scarlets versus Power in the rugby. And we really are spoiling you for choice, because on Sports Extra 3 it just doesn't stop. We've got Stoke against Coventry, followed by Grimsby Town against Weston-super-Mare in that tea time slot. But that's it. From the Emirates, my thanks to Helen Ward for joining me this afternoon, and to you for listening. This has been a PDI Media production for BBC Radio 5 Live. Right now though, let's build you up to that busy day of sport and join Steve Crossman on 5 Live Sport.
And when we do get a chance, go and take it. Honestly, I've got no words.
And when the second went in, where were you in the whole celebrations at that point?
Well, Isaac's I think he's gone for other corner and just sliced it in, I think. But honestly, unbelievable. I don't know what I did. I think I ran round in a circle, then ran to them. Yeah, I don't know.
And of course, it is a special day, but of course, you lost a teammate very, very recently. I mean, can you balance the two together? What words would you like to say?
That was for him. That was for Ethan. It's been a really tough 2-3 weeks. But the lads have stuck together. We've stuck together. Honestly, that was for him. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, very poignant in terms of Ethan McLeod. But in terms of this, the fans are still on the pitch. That's the joy of the plastic pitch, isn't it? You can have the fans on here with you to celebrate. You'll see these faces week in, week out. What does it mean to you to give this day to them to remember, really, for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, one of the biggest cup upsets in history, to be honest, isn't it? But yeah, we get 3,000 fans 3,000 fans every week. It's not just today where they've come to for the big occasion. We get these every week, so that was for the fans, for the community, that was for everyone.
Well done today, and enjoy tonight.
I will do.
Thank you, Paul.
That's Paul Dawson, captain of Macclesfield, scored the opening goal as well. And do you know, John Murray, because of how amazing that story was, and the fact that you'd effectively already called that he was going to score once the head bandage went on, it's easy to forget that it was actually a magnificent header, even if he can't remember it.
Yeah, terrific header. As Paul said at the time, Crystal Palace undone by the set piece. It just had that feel about it, though, didn't it? From the very moment that the captain, one of their leading players, as we heard from him there, clearly an inspiration to his teammates, from the point that he had a white bandage wrapped around his head on a day like this.
It was the third touch of the football, John.
When he clashed heads with Campbell. And from the moment that he came on and then proceeded to have the match that he did, it did feel like in your mind's eye you could see his image on the front page of the newspapers in the morning, which it probably will be.
One other image that I spotted just after full time is the Crystal Palace captain Mark Gay actually went over to speak to the Palace fans at full time. Probably feels like a day that needs some explaining, so let's hear from the manager Oliver Glasner here with Sarah Mulcairns.
Congratulations to Macclesfield for winning. We missed any kind of quality today. Haven't seen anybody who could win a dribble, then conceding another set play goal, losing the header, no timing in the header. We know this, but we have to do better. Second goal was more slapstick goal, and on the other side, if you can't create clear chances, we didn't have really, maybe one or two right at the end, but everything else is just lack of quality what we have shown today, and that's why we lost and we deserve to lose.
You made 3 changes at the break. What were you hoping to try and find in the second half?
Quality.
Across the board from the whole range of players on the team?
Yes, from everyone, but it's also bringing one more attacking player, because it's just honestly have no explanation for what I have seen today, and it's really now for all of us to. Because it's maybe everybody's squeezed out. We can find some excuses on the other side. I think, and I played 19 years on now. You don't need a tactics. You don't need in these kind of games. You don't need honestly. You don't need a manager. So I think if you just show what you're capable of and having a little bit of pride, then you perform in a different way. But today we missed everything.
Oliver Glasner. Just to wrap up for now then, John, we won't be seeing the Champions FA Cup balls again, but we'll certainly be seeing Macclesfield.
Not this season, which just goes to show, doesn't it? They're in the FA Cup. Eventually, one day, every dog has its day. And Crystal Palace's day was at Wembley last May. Today, it was Macclesfield's day. And I think as well, just to underline what's happened here at this club, and this is recent history, when we're talking about the old Macclesfield town ceasing to be in 2020, and that was 146 years of history. I was here for FA Cup ties, in Macclesfield Town's time, and now this club that has been right down the bottom after Rob Smethurst, and we should give another mention to our colleague Robbie Savage, who is very much part of the rise here. 3 promotions in the last 4 seasons, so back in National League North, and now involved in something like this. Remember how those Macclesfield fans, I know I've been speaking to some today, how they felt when it felt like the world was against them back in the late 20-teens and up to that point. Well, now it feels like they're basking in the glow of world attention, and now the world loves them. And that is football, and that is sport, and that is the FA Cup.
John, Paul, thank you very much indeed. There will be much more reaction across the afternoon on 5 Live Sport. Macclesfield of National League North beat Crystal Palace, the FA Cup holders, for the first time in the history of the competition. 6th tier beats top tier. It has never happened before. It's the only shock of the early kickoffs in the FA Cup. Finished Cheltenham 0, Leicester City 2 and Wolves 6, Shrewsbury 1. We're playing extra time in the All Premier League tie at Everton. Nathan Alban.
Well, into the second half of extra time, Steve. Everton 1, Sunderland 1. It's lacking quality. It looks like it's heading for spot kicks. Sunderland have brought on top scorer Wilson Isidore, and we've already had a close-up of Jordan Pickford's water bottle. 7 minutes from penalty kicks, 1-1.
The early kickoffs in League One finished Luton 2, Stevenage 1 and Stockport 1, Huddersfield 0. There's also Champions Cup rugby ongoing as well. Pretoria Bulls 35, Bristol Bears 61 is the latest score. Lots more FA Cup to come after the news with Lisa McCormick.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. The exiled son of Iran's deposed Shah has urged Iranians to seize and hold city centres as anti-government protests continue. The US-based Reza Pahlavi is calling for more demonstrations today and tomorrow. Police in Cornwall say a man in his 50s was killed when a tree collapsed onto a caravan in Helston during Storm Goretti on Thursday. Around 30,000 homes are still without electricity across the southwest and the West Midlands. 16,500 homes in West Sussex have little or no water. South East Water says customers in East Grinstead might experience disruption all weekend because of freezing conditions. And events have been held around the world to mark 10 years since David Bowie's death. Festivals, music tributes and pop-up exhibitions are celebrating his cultural impact.
Hello, welcome to 5 Live Breakfast. Lots going on this morning.
Kick off your morning with the biggest stories and the headlines everyone's talking about.
We'll dig into what's happening and exactly what it means for you.
These systems are constantly being improved. No system is ever 100% perfect.
This is 5 Live Breakfast.
And we're on the ground at the world's biggest sporting events.
To go into that game and perform in the way that we did just feels like an absolute defeat.
Wake up with 5 Live Breakfast every morning from 6.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports.
The FA Cup with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Richards can't get it away. Could bounce anywhere. This inside the area. Mella goes down. Referee waves it away. Still in the area. Mella gets up, shoots, comes out to the edge of the box. Left-footed shot deflected. Mella. Oh, it's going in! It's going in. It's 2-0. Oh, the place goes absolutely mad. Macclesfield are winning 2-0 against Crystal Palace. Mella stuck out a leg. It rolled agonisingly past Benitez. Oliver Glasner and his team cannot believe what's happening to them here. Well, what's happening is it's Macclesfield 2, Crystal Palace 0.
A stunning upset at Moss Rose. If you want to find out more, by the way, about the club, about Macclesfield, on iPlayer, Macclesfield from the Ashes tells you all about the rebuilding of the football club. So they have caused one of, if not the greatest shocks ever in this competition. Last night, Wrexham beat Nottingham Forest. What next? Well, for us, it's Craven Cottage for Fulham against Championship Middlesbrough. Ian Dennis.
Yes, follow that for Middlesbrough, who are second in the Championship. Only made a couple of changes, though, from the side that dispatched Southampton. It is Gilbert and Brown coming in for the injured Bangura and Bergzorg. But for Fulham of the Premier League, they make 7 changes. Still, it looks a decent side put out by Marco Silva. Castagna, Cuenca, Diop and Smith Rowe are the only players who have survived from the team that beat Chelsea in the Premier League in midweek. And one of the players coming in is Jonah Kusi Asare. It is the first start of his senior career.
Andy Reid is alongside Ian for commentary. Afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Steve. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Now, clearly, Middlesbrough winning at Fulham would not be in the same universe as what we've just witnessed, but sometimes shocks inspire shocks, and the FA Cup run continues.
Shocks inspire shocks. I'm not too sure I've heard that one before. I like it, though. I think this is a reasonably even game. If you think about where they both are kind of in their respective leagues, and you think about the changes that Fulham have made, I'm expecting this, particularly in the early stages, to be pretty even. I would really like Middlesbrough to come and have a go, because I think there's an opportunity for them to get at this Fulham team and to cause them problems. Looking forward to seeing Morgan Whittaker in action today as well.
So this is our base. Lots more to come from Craven Cottage, but loads of other great stories going on. Another non-league team in action at 3 is Boreham Wood. They take on Burton Albion. Manager Luke Garrard has been speaking to John Southall.
Well, Luke, thanks for talking to us so close to kick-off. What are the emotions at the moment? What are your players? What's the confidence levels like?
My emotions are very calm. Yes, I get nervous, anxious for obvious reasons. I've played the game out in my head several times today. Plan of actions A, B and C, and making sure that we have answers to their questions, and we need to make sure that the boys are going in there as calm as I am. I can't go in there and being erratic and then ask them to be calm come the 90 minutes. And for me, if we go and implement what we can do, we got a real good belief in the group at the minute. We have a real good run of form in terms of how we're performing, and we need to make sure that we mirror that for today's game. We know it's a League One side. We appreciate the quality in their ranks, but we need to make sure that everyone loves an underdog. Everyone loves a cup run, and can it be us come 5 p.m?
The fact you've beaten 2 League 2 teams already, I mean, how much does that help the belief you talk about?
This club's created history a lot of times. This is the 4th time we've been in the 3rd round in the last 6 years. It's a possibility of getting into the 4th round for the 2nd time in our history. We have a love affair with the FA Cup, and when this crowd come out and they come out and sing, it's magic, and we just want to create as many moments and memories as we possibly can. Beating Newport and Crawley, yes, puts us in a good position. We've won 15 games here out of our 19. Our home form's excellent. I spoke to the group about certain principles we need to adhere to today, and if they do that, then I'm excited and looking forward to the game.
And you talk about your love affair with the Cup, and we look at the Bournemouth game, obviously the trip to Everton. Do you get the feeling that this could be the same today? You look at Burton, they've got a lot of players missing, they've got a lot of injuries. I mean, on paper, it looks ripe, this, for the upset.
Great word, ripe for the upset. Listen, their manager told in his interviews prior to the game that we're favourites. I don't believe that. I believe we are the underdog. I believe we play with a hungry and humble attitude like we do in every single fixture. And that needs to remain today. We've got to be in a position where we work ever so hard, and they got to get to a level that we get to and they can't get to, and we need to make sure that we're clinical in front of goal. I'm not foolish, have luck. But yeah, you said it, ripe for a cup upset. It's a League One side currently with many injuries, and it's a side that is currently 2nd in their division, playing some really attractive football. We just need to make sure that we go and deliver on a game plan, hopefully implement that and get the win.
Great days these, aren't they?
For me and my family, these are unbelievable days. I've got a 10 and 7-year-old that I'm going to go and give them a drink now, give them a little kiss, and I can't wait to see their faces when I walk out. And yeah, memories and moments that money can't buy, and this is why I do this job.
Enjoy it. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, mate.
Lovely interview. Boreham Wood manager Luke Garrard speaking to John Southall, who's going to be across this game for us. John, if it was going to happen, today feels like the day.
Absolutely, and I can imagine he doesn't lack confidence, Luke Garrard, and I bet he's in that dressing room now giving him a right rousing team talk. And when you talk to him, you truly believe that he thinks this will be their day. As we mentioned there, they've already knocked out 2 League 2 sides. They've won actually 16 of the last 20 games here. And as we mentioned, Burton have issues, 10 injured players. They've lost their last 3. They haven't scored a goal yet in 2026. You just think this has all the ingredients for the upset. Boreham Wood will take inspiration from Macclesfield. They've reached round 5 in 2022 as well, and you just wouldn't bet against them today, Steve.
We'll go to the Etihad next. Manchester City take on League One's Exeter City, looking to make it to round 4 for the 2nd season in a row. Lee Blakeman.
2 senior Manchester City debuts today as they make 6 changes from the side that started against Brighton here on Wednesday. As expected, Antoine Semenyo starts following his £65 million move from Bournemouth this week, as does 17-year-old academy player Ryan Makado, joined from Chelsea 2 years ago and starts for the City first team for the first time this afternoon. Rodri, Lewis and Cherky also come in, while James Trafford starts in goal. Haaland stays in up top. Exeter make 2 changes from their last game, a 2-2 draw at Huddersfield. That game made it 3 unbeaten for them, having won their previous 2 in League One. They're 14th in the table, 56 places below Pep Guardiola's team. 8,000 Exeter fans have made the trip from Devon to be part of this today.
We're going to get a shootout at the Hill Dickinson. Nathan Alban.
Yeah, full time after extra time, Steve. Everton 1, Sunderland 1. An extra time really lacking in quality shots on target. So Enzo Lefebvre's 30th minute goal in the first half cancelled out by a late James Garner penalty. He's already scored 1 today. He might be looking to get another in the shootout. We are moments away from penalties. Everton 1, Sunderland 1.
Back to the 3 o'clocks. Burnley are in the bottom 3 in the Premier League. They've got Millwall, who are in the top 6 in the Championship. The only time time they've met in the FA Cup. Millwall went on to win the whole thing. Julia Bolds at Turf Moor.
Yeah, it's been a rotten run at home for Burnley. The last win at Turf Moor, the 26th of August in the League Cup, and Scott Parker had already warned he would rest players as he focuses on Premier League survival. So he's made 9 changes today after the draw against Manchester United. Only Maxim Estev and Leslie Ugochukwu remain. 36-year-old Ashley Barnes is the striker up front. Jayden Anthony comes in after scoring the equaliser midweek. Millwall boss Alex Neil has also warned the cup competition isn't really their focus, with Premier League football the big prize for him. They're unbeaten in the last 4 in the Championship. It's 7 changes for them for the late win over Swansea, including keeper Stephen Bender coming in, who's on loan from Fulham.
Hillsborough next, the first FA Cup meeting for the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday and Brentford of the Premier League. Chris Coles.
How Sheffield Wednesday could do with some FA Cup cheer. It's bleak for the 3-time winners currently. Their off-field issues well documented. And a starting 11 today, Sean of Barry Bannon, their most influential player, not included. Brentford flying in the Premier League. A deep FA Cup run well within their capabilities, reflected by Keith Andrews' strong team selection. And while numerically it wouldn't be the biggest upset based on their league positions, such is the contrast off the field, it would be one of the more sizable shocks if Sheffield Wednesday were to win.
Newcastle and Bournemouth both had thrilling late wins in the Premier League in midweek. Let's hope for more drama at St James's Park. Katie Smith.
Yeah, certainly buzzing with expectation today. They've witnessed 2 of Newcastle's 3 consecutive Premier League wins here. The only concern, of course, is just these games coming so thick and fast. 7 across 4 competitions in the space of just 21 days, including that League Cup semi-final first leg on Tuesday against City. Don't think extra time is going to make Eddie Howe happy today. He makes 7 changes from that extraordinary win over Leeds. Harvey Barnes, who scored the winner, starts. Vista Voltamada in, Ramsdale in goal today. Bournemouth, meanwhile, quarter-finalists last season, but this post-Antoine Semenyo era starting today. He helped them end their 11-game winless run against Spurs midweek. 6 changes from Iraola. The highly impressive 19-year-old Krupi keeping his spot. He'll sit behind Ines Unal with Evan Nielsen on the bench.
Next, 2 sides who haven't won in 6. That's League One's Doncaster Rovers and their visitors from the Championship, Southampton. Someone must end their winless run. Andy Giddings.
Well, who'd have the nerve to predict this one today? It is very much a nervous FA Cup tie. It's 50 years this season since Southampton lifted the FA Cup. Today, Championship Southampton playing the replica yellow shirts of that time in 1976. But presently, they're under pressure for victory. Boss Tonda Eckert hasn't seen his side win since turning his interim role permanent. Doncaster Rovers haven't won since securing their 3rd round berth, but have taken Championship scalps in recent years in both domestic cup competitions. Add to that the pitch. It has, of course, passed its inspection, but is far from perfect. And 13 changes in all between the 2 sides, including debuts. This is predictably unpredictable.
Portman Road next. Championship side Ipswich Town have only lost once at home this season, so can League One's Blackpool inflict their 2nd defeat? Paul Gilmore.
Well, FA Cup days at Portman Road always stir memories of 1978 here when Roger Osborne scored the winner for Sir Bobby Robson's Ipswich. Blackpool have their own iconic FA Cup history, the Stanley Matthews final of 53, their most famous afternoon in this competition. Fast forward to today, and the postponement at Portsmouth has allowed Kieran McKenna to go stronger than expected. Top scorers Jayden Philogene and Jack Clark are in the team. Wes Burns makes his first start since an ACL injury at Anfield almost a year ago, and FA Cup winner Ashley Young captains the side. Their League One opponents have lost their last 2. They have beaten Scunthorpe and Carlisle to get to this stage, and welcome back Josh Bowler and Scott Banks to the starting 11.
There's an all-championship tie at Stoke. Coventry City, the visitors. Tom Gale.
Led by 2 men synonymous with this competition, Steve. Frank Lampard, a 4-time FA Cup winner with Chelsea. Mark Robbins lifted the trophy in 1990 with his 3rd round winning strike, widely seen as the goal which saved Sir Alex Ferguson's job. And as a manager 2 years ago, Robbins' then Coventry team were a Wembley penalty shootout away from toppling Manchester United in the semi-finals. Championship leaders Coventry on a bit of a wobble, 1 win in 5 and make 8 changes. Stoke back-to-back victories in 2026 are pretty much full strength.
Earlier today in League One, it finished Luton 2, Stevenage 1 and Stockport 1, Huddersfield Town 0. The leaders Cardiff are in action at 3. They're away to Leyton Orient, looking to avoid their 4th defeat in a row. Sam Ashu.
Yeah, good afternoon, Steve. Slightly strange feeling for the Cardiff fans ahead of this one. Top of the league by 3 points with a game in hand, but they woke up to the news this morning that the club have been placed under a transfer embargo by the EFL for a non-submission of accounts. Cardiff have assured fans this is an administrative error and the issue will be resolved by the end of next week. On the pitch, Barry Murphy makes 3 changes to the side that beat Wigan last week. In come Fish, Osho and Tanner. New signing Will Forrester comes straight into the Orient 11 and it's a first league start for Alfie Lloyd.
This is 5 Sports Extra.
Time now to break away from 5 Live on BBC 5 Sports Extra. Let's join BBC Radio Manchester for coverage of Manchester City versus Exeter City in the FA Cup third round.
As we welcome listeners on 5 Sports Extra on BBC Radio Manchester and on BBC Sounds this afternoon. If you're out and about anywhere, just ask your smart speakers to play BBC Radio Manchester and we bring you commentary of City against Exeter from the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City, 7-time winners of this competition, facing a side from League One, hoping to avoid a cup upset. Macclesfield have already achieved history with that biggest ever shock in FA Cup history. They beat the holders, Premier League Crystal Palace, by 2-1 a little bit earlier on this afternoon. Just to let you know, Oldham's game against Notts County in League 2 was postponed this week. Let's face it, nobody wants to be at Boundary Park when it's as cold as it is at the moment. Salford against Swindon in the FA Cup also called off today, but we will bring you commentary of City. We'll also have regular reports of Bolton's game against Peterborough, which does go ahead. Jack Dearden.
Yes, it does, Bill. Lots of fans here as well have made the fairly lengthy trip down to support the Wanderers. 3 changes made to the side. Last time out for Bolton Wanderers, Sissoko, Taylor and Christie don't start. Tutu, Conway and Gale all start. I think Stephen Schumacher will be looking for a little bit of consistency. Wanderers only taking 5 points from the last available 15. And one day that he will want to forget here, when he was the manager of Plymouth, they lost here in the season. They went up against Peterborough. Peterborough beat Plymouth on that day by 5-2. He will not want to repeat that scoreline.
Regular reports on that game to come. Earlier, Stockport County beat Huddersfield by 1-0 in League One. Benny Andreasen with the only goal there. Congratulations again to Macclesfield, who caused the biggest shock in FA Cup history as they beat the holders Crystal Palace. More reaction to that to come throughout the afternoon on BBC Radio Manchester. But your commentary now on Manchester, on Sounds and on 5 Sports Extra comes from here at the Etihad. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City taking on an Exeter side 56 places below them in the Football League. Can the Blues avoid the banana skin and safely progress to round 4, or will it be a day that Exeter and their supporters will never ever forget? The commentary team that will take you through it is the former City player Jim Whitley and Josh Watson.
Bill, thank you. We are set for action. The teams are out in the third round of football's most famous competition. 7 times winners Manchester City take on Exeter City. The third tier side will be looking for the FA Cup to cast one of its most powerful spells. However, we've already seen this afternoon anything can happen in this competition. For City, the road to Wembley starts here. They've reached the final 3 years in a row, of course losing the last 2. This is a side that Pep Guardiola has picked as they begin their journey there once more. James Trafford starts in goal as a back four of Lewis, Kusanov, Elaine and Ake. Rodri and Reinders make up the 2 in centre midfield. 3 behind the striker of Mekadu, Shirky and Semenyo. Haaland leads the line for Manchester City this afternoon. Alongside myself, Josh Watson, on BBC Radio Manchester 5 Sports Extra this afternoon is Jim Whitley. Jim, a few eyebrows were raised when we saw this team. Semenyo's obviously in for his debut. We spoke about him in the build-up, but to have the likes of Erling Haaland, Ryan Shirky, Tiana Reinders and Rodri in there, Pep Guardiola's showing the FA Cup plenty of respect this afternoon, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Haaland for me was the biggest one. I just thought he'd have a rest and then rotate up front. So to have such, and Rodri as well, the Ballon d'Or winner there. I mean, Exeter must be loving this as a player to play against such all the top dogs here. But it is an incredibly strong side, and perhaps with the last draws they've had, they've just wanted to get the job done, get some goals in, and call it a day.
As both teams begin their pre-match rituals, Exeter City in their home strips this afternoon of red shirts, white stripes with black socks.
black shorts rather, and red socks. Manchester City in their traditional sky blue home jerseys, white shorts and sky blue socks. We're just watching the captains. Rodri with the armband on for Manchester City this afternoon. Exchanging the coin toss, the handshakes, both sides. Begin a huddle in their own ends of the pitch. And Jim, well, we've seen one big upset already this afternoon. I'm guessing the message in that Manchester City huddle is we can't slip up here.
Absolutely. Don't be one of the stats. I think that'll be the instructions of Pep. But also, I have to say this again, Pep will be telling the players it's not a given just because you're playing a team that's probably not that in form. You have to give your best in this and take it as a Premiership game, because otherwise these Exeter players will be trying to give an extra 10% to try and beat a team like Manchester City. So they have to be at the races.
One man who knows all about upsetting Manchester City in this competition is Gary Caldwell. He, of course, lifted the FA Cup with Wigan Athletic back in 2013. These days he is the head coach of Exeter. This is how his side line up. We've got Whitworth in goal, back three of Turns, Fitzwater and Woodhouse, wing backs of Niskanen and Oakes, the three in midfield of Doyle, Harris, Brierley and Cole, two up front made up of Wareham and Aitchison. We are underway, BBC Radio Manchester, 5 Sports Extra, and live on BBC Sounds this afternoon, so you can take us wherever you are heading in the UK for your third round FA Cup tie. Trafford in the possession inside his own 18-yard box. He's got plenty of support in and around him, as Manchester City is. We tend to see them build from the back. Elaine just carries it up towards halfway before exchanging a 1-2. Rodri now takes control of things before looking to shift it out towards the right-hand side. Kusanov finds himself tight to the touchline. He's put under a bit of pressure there by Aitchison, who forces him all the way back towards his own penalty area. James Trafford back in the side this afternoon. Of course, he started the season as number one, played the first 3 league games before Gianluigi Donnarumma was signed. He's played every game in the League Cup, so it looks as though he will continue to be Pep Guardiola's cup goalkeeper. City on the move in the early stages. Left-hand side with Ake in the left-back position. Gives it to Semenyo for his first touch in Manchester City blue. Back up towards the halfway line where Elaine just puts his studs on the ball before rolling it out towards the left-hand side. Semenyo's there, tries to clip it in towards the 18-yard box. Haaland was lurking. Exeter do well to scramble, and it's put over the touchline. On the far side is Manchester City. Attack from left to right as we look at things for an Exeter throw-in. Manchester City again just looking to assert themselves in the early stages of this one.
Absolutely. Although in possession, they have to say they're looking like playing with the 2 fullbacks pushing on. The 2 centre-backs, Kusanov and Allen, seem to be on their own with Rodri just in front of him. So the fullbacks have pushed on, and so have the wingers. I have to say they're looking like they're playing with a back 5 at the moment, being very, very tight.
First touch from McAdoo just puts it through the legs of Doyle Harris there as it switched across towards the left-hand side where City launch this next wave of attack. Semenyo has it. He's got the chance to have a run at Niskanen, cuts back on his right foot before just laying the ball into the path of Shirky, who's come across towards the left-hand side to get involved. Rodri's there as well as he collects possession. Options in the middle for Pep Guardiola's side. It's Ake who glances towards the penalty area before instead laying the ball off. Shirky has it, flicks it over the top into the box. The goalkeeper, Joe Whitworth, quick as a flash in front of his 7,500 travelling Exeter City supporters behind the goal there, gathers the ball and regains the possession for Exeter. 0-0 after 2.5 minutes in this one.
I was watching Josh in the warm-up, and McAdoo's finishing was incredible, I have to say. So I'm desperate for him to get on the ball, put it onto his left foot, and see if he can do what he did in the warm-up, because it was absolutely wonderful to see.
Sunderland are through to the next round, a 3-0 win on a penalty shootout against Everton after it was tied 1 apiece after extra time. City have seen all of the ball so far in this one. It looks as though Exeter have gone with just the one up front, maybe a 5-4-1 formation for them for Manchester City to break down. Ake has it, plays it towards Rodri, who puts his right boot on the ball, twists and turns it out towards the right side where McAdoo again can have a run at the penalty area. Cuts back on his left foot, good bit of skill to get past the defence, lays it off towards Lewis, who looks up to try and find the ball in. Semenyo made a run in, opting not to use him as the ball in the end is turned back towards Lewis once again. Rodri in support. This time Exeter just engage a little bit higher up the field here. The challenge comes in, and it's a good run from Wareham to win the ball back for the visitors, and they can try control things with Oates on this left-hand side. But Manchester City again, quick as you can, put the pressure on. This time McAdoo isn't quick enough to get onto a loose ball. Exeter go direct down the left-hand side. It just trickles across the touchline for a Manchester City throw-in.
I tell you what, Josh, that was interesting. Makeda got it out wide and Kushinoff went on an overlap. Bearing in mind,
could be an early chance for Exeter. The shot comes in, it takes a deflection, does it off the defence. Will be a corner kick here to Exeter City. Max Lane there back defensively, just sticks out his left leg to stop Wareham's curling effort going goal bound. But now City have a corner to defend.
Yes, absolutely. They are trying to push very, very quickly, I have to say, Manchester City, with those two centre-backs. And like I said, Kushinoff went an overlap, leaving one at the back, which I found incredible. So I think they're trying to look for an early goal and trying to confuse Exeter. There's a lot of men in midfield with Rico Lewis going in there and Ake. So it'll be interesting to see how they go along.
4.5 minutes played, BBC Radio Manchester. 0-0 still the score here at the Etihad, but the first corner of the game goes the way of the visitors. Exeter with a chance to get the ball into the penalty area. It's right-footed, drilled into the 6-yard area at the far post, and Trafford had to be alert. Tipped it over the crossbar. Oakes rose the highest to get his head on the ball. Trafford does well, 2 hands on it over the bar. Repeat corner for Exeter. Warning signs for City.
I can't believe how he's managed to get the ball. I'm sure he's against Rodri there. He's about 4 foot nothing. An unbelievable jump, took him by surprise, and he's doing the same again. He's just hanging out the back. The players are just Cole as well at number 12. He's hanging out the back unmarked. Interesting to see how their marking's going here, Manchester City.
Second corner in succession for Exeter. Briley to whip it in. Once had a trial at Manchester City. Right-footed again towards the far side of the penalty area. Ake heads clear, edge of the area. Aitchison looked to shape a shot. However, the referee, Adam Herzeg, spots an infringement inside the 6-yard area. Manchester City have a free kick, but alarm bells may be ringing after James Trafford was forced into action. And you often see in these FA Cup third-round games, a lower league side, the most likely they are to score is from a set-piece scenario such as that one.
Yes, absolutely, because there's only so much you can do on looking at how they performed recently, and they haven't been performing great, I have to say, recently. So it is very difficult for Pep's team to have a look at them and tell them exactly what they're going to do, because they're probably going to do something different when they play against Manchester City. But very surprising on that header, and just got to be careful on corners. Manchester City have got hold of the ball now, and I think they need to get a goal quickly.
Reminder, Macclesfield put their place in the 4th round with a stunning win over the holders Crystal Palace, 2-1 at the Moss Rose. They're in the heart alongside Wigan Athletic, who progressed last night by beating Preston North End by a 1-0. Man City in the possession just shy of the halfway line. Bolton Wanderers in league action this afternoon will be across to London Road shortly as City launch another attack up the left hand side. It's Semenyo looking to weave his way through 4 Exeter City shirts there, couldn't manage to do so. It's the away side who rekindle the possession on the edge of their own penalty area. Not the best clearance there from Fitzwater, gives a possession to Pep Guardiola's side. McAdoo on the right, in fact it's Lewis who picks up the loose ball. McAdoo switched across towards his right wing position, but City opt to go left instead to Semenyo once more. I've seen plenty of the ball in the opening 7 minutes of his Manchester City career. Now it is McAdoo with space to work with. Right hand side, option via Kusanov, opts not to use him, just brings it back more centrally where Shirky can collect, looks to dart past his man down the right hand touchline, back heels it back up the line. Not the best pass there from Ryan Shirky, but Manchester City will have the throw in.
Yeah, he got the ball, he drove towards the right wing, he tried a little cheeky back heel which he didn't quite catch, and they've managed to get a throw in, Manchester City, with Rico Lewis on the ball right now, waiting for the throw in. They're looking for Rodri's looked after it there.
The ball turned back all the way towards Max Lane. Wasn't the best ball to him. He has to retreat around 20 yards or so to collect it inside his own half of the field. There's almost only him and Kusanov inside City's own half of the pitch as they launch an attack up the right hand side. McAdoo has the possession. Oakes to beat, stands him up. He has his left foot hovering on top of the ball before he flicks it down towards the byline. It's going to be Lewis who gives chase. Bit of a coming together. It looks to take a ricochet off of Luca Woodhouse there. The referee agrees. Corner kick given to Manchester City, and it looks as though that Pep Guardiola's side are looking to turn the screw after 8 minutes in this one.
Absolutely, McAdoo was on the ball. He made a forward pass, almost made Lewis go for it, and the defender got his feet mixed up, and the ball's gone out for a corner, and Who is that taking?
Looks to be McCady who stood over it. On debut for Manchester City, left-footed ball towards the near post. Far too easy for Joe Whitworth to come and collect. Rises with both arms in the air, catches it and just looks to slow things down from an Exeter point of view. Who can blame him? The referee, Adam Hurt, said just begins the countdown. But just a word on McCady, only 17 years of age. This is his first competitive appearance for Manchester City's first team. He's probably the only sort of academy player who we might have expected to appear in the starting 11 to get that chance. I'm guessing there's a bit of pressure on himself to go out and prove the point this afternoon.
Very, very difficult. And when players come in like this, and Semenyo as well, you think you have to do something else or something extra instead of just doing what you. Semenyo's just on the ball there, he's tried to dribble and lost the ball, and it'll be the same for McCady. They want to do something, but actually just get on the ball, pass it, get your confidence up, and the rest will follow. Like I said, I watched him in the warm-up. He was unbelievable. So he's got the confidence. For him, I would go against that defender, just try luck and see how he does.
9.5 minutes on the clock. Will be across to London Road shortly, but Manchester City on the front foot again in this one. However, it is the visitors who've come closest to taking the lead. For header from a corner from Oakes, well saved by James Trafford. Elaine with plenty of options left and right. Ops just to roll it 10 yards or so to his right, where Kusanov collects, finds Lewis, looks for the 1-2 on the edge of the penalty area. Exeter win the possession back, clip it down the left hand side. That's going to be easily dealt with there by Manchester City. Ball all the way back to James Trafford. So let's get to London Road. Bolton against Peterborough, Jack Dearden.
10 minutes gone, 2 opportunities for Bolton, both falling to Thierry Gale. First of all, his shot was scrambled clear. Decent defensive work that by the home side, but should have done much better moments later. Both of these opportunities set up by the speed and the footwork of the Wanderers winger, Cozy Dewberry. On the second occasion, Gale smashed his shot high wide and not particularly handsome. Two opportunities.
City, Haaland on the edge of the area, deflects over the crossbar. That could have gone anywhere. Sorry to interrupt you, Jack, but a big opportunity there for Erling Haaland. Instinctive on the spin, hits it on the volley, looked destined for the back of the net until the deflection came in, turns it over the bar. Corner kick to Manchester City. It's well defended in the air by Exeter just to ensure that the goalkeeper, Joe Whitworth, wasn't called into any sort of action. But City still on the front foot via the corner. McCady ball in. Once again, Whitworth comes, both arms on it. This time opts to punch. McCady collects again into the penalty area. Shimmy, cross, far post. Ake underneath it, back across goal. Haaland touches it down. It's in the 6-yard area. Can City find the shot? They can, as it crept over the line. The referee's watch has buzzed. The goal has been given, and Manchester City have the lead in this one. It's not the most glamorous, but it's Max Elaine who claims it. He wheels away in celebration, punches the air. A first goal for City for him, and the Blues have the lead in this one. Manchester City 1, Exeter City 0.
Oh, it's brilliant from Manchester City. It all started with Haaland, his first touch on the ball. He chested it down, took it on the half volley on his left foot, which then brought about the corner. McCady managed to play the ball and it got ricocheted back into him. He's played it to the back stick, but Ake knocked it across, and there was a couple of intricacies in Haaland with a little header. It was like a little pinball in the box, and Max Allen, he'll be delighted. His first goal, it didn't smash the back of the net, but I don't think he will care. It's gone over the line, and brilliant for Manchester City. I think they've got the early goal that we're after, and they can now build on this.
The first goal for Max Elaine, he looked delighted with that. 12 minutes it's taken before Manchester City taken the lead in this one. BBC Radio Manchester on BBC Sounds this afternoon, as well as 5 Sports Extra. Exeter have work to do if they're going to pull up what will be one of the most remarkable upsets in FA Cup history this afternoon. We've already seen one of them, as Macclesfield have dumped out the holders Crystal Palace in your early kick-off on BBC Radio Manchester. With you till 6 o'clock this evening for all of your football in action. Salford City will also have their name in the hat alongside Swindon Town. Their game this afternoon has been postponed due to a frozen pitch. It's the same case for Oldham's League 2 tie against Notts County. Here at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City 1, Exeter 0. 12 minutes played. Max Elaine, the difference between the two sides, and I'm guessing that just takes a little bit of pressure off the City side as well. Jim Whitley, do you expect them to play with a little bit more freedom in possession now?
Absolutely. They're knocking little 1-2s, 5-yard balls around in that midfield area. They're obviously going to tire Exeter out, because this is what Manchester City are very good at doing. You've got Rico in there, Ake's coming in there, you've got Shirky's dropping in deep. It is so many 5 and 10 yard passes. I mean, they've got 5 or 6 at the back at the moment with 3 or 4 in midfield. It's very, very difficult to break down. So they will try and push and pull them and move the ball around before that opening comes about. And like I said, Haaland's hardly touched the ball except for that half volley, and he'll wait patiently until that time arises.
Elsewhere in the FA Cup, Burnley 1-0, Wall 0, and in League One, Leyton Orient taking the lead against league leaders Cardiff City 1-0 at Brisbane Road. Out on the left-hand side, Manchester City look to launch another attack. Lewis has made his way across there. Here's Semenyo to the byline, drills it across goal. Right boot of Fitzwater just prevents it from creeping across the goal line again, and Exeter win a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area. That's the first time Semenyo's been able to get to the byline in this one, and it was a wicked ball into that 6-yard area.
Yes, it was. He's had a couple of touches early on, and obviously all the eyes will be on him. I don't want him to do too much because he has tried to take a couple of men and gone into a brick wall. That was brilliant. Got it, shifted it, used his pace, and went to put it across the box. This is what he needs to do more often. But like I said, in this Pep team, you just need to get confident, get onto the ball, pass and move it, and that opening will appear.
Trafford has the possession for Manchester City. Antoine Semenyo may be a decent game for him to make his debut, and he's no stranger to the Football League style of play, having done his apprenticeships with Notts County, played for Sunderland while they were down in League One as well. 7 appearances at the Stadium of Light. He's had to work hard through his move to Bournemouth up to the Premier League, and now Manchester City opting to spend around £65 million or so on him. City on the front foot yet again with Shirky. Darts into the Exeter half of the field, plays it out towards the right where Kusanov can collect. First time ball back in field towards Shirky. He's looking to dictate things in the early stages here. 1-0 City lead. McAdoo on the right of the penalty area. Good first touch at the byline. Tries to clip it in towards Semenyo, who was lurking inside the 6-yard box. However, Joe Whitworth, the Exeter goalkeeper, alerts the danger. Both arms on it. Collects a possession for Exeter.
He was very quick, McAdoo, I have to say. Nicked it past the defender. He actually had more time than he thought, and he's tried to play outside with his left foot to the back stick and didn't quite get there, and the keeper gathered it with his hands. But I do like him. He looks sharp. I think he'll only build with confidence, and it'll be one you'll see a bit more often.
Exeter win a free kick just shy of the centre circle. They're quick to take it as well as they look to launch an attack up the right hand side. Aitchison has it, finds support in Harris as well. Back towards Aitchison by the corner flag. Only one red and white shirt inside the penalty area. Eventually the ball is drilled in, looking for the intended target, which is Wareham. Collides with James Trafford. It's always going to be a free kick to a goalkeeper, that one. City have the possession back. 1-0.
Absolutely, but he is the top scorer. He's one that'll get into the space. I was watching his movement in the box. He was trying to get on the blind side of any of those City centre halves. Knows his craft, but on that occasion, against the keeper, he's just tried his luck, nudged him, and got the free kick.
Jayden Wareham, formerly of Chelsea, started his career in non-league at Woking, where he impressed the scouts at Stamford Bridge. They opted to take him to West London, where he didn't actually make a competitive appearance. Made the move to Exeter City at the end of last season after a spell with Reading, and now he's looking to impress at the Etihad Stadium. He's not seen a lot of the ball in this one though. It's been all Manchester City so far, as you would expect in the third round of the FA Cup. 17 on the clock on BBC Radio Manchester. City 1, Exeter 0, also on 5 Sports Extra and on BBC Sounds this afternoon. Plenty of action to come your way still tomorrow. Manchester United in their third round tie against Brighton under the stewardship of Darren Fletcher, as they look to book their place in the 4th round of the competition. Exeter have the possession on the right hand side of their own penalty area. Fitzwater has it. They seem quite comfortable in attempting to play their way out of the back, and they've done well here to work it up towards the halfway line, where Aitchison on the turn fires it out towards the right hand side. Exeter commit bodies forward. City do well to track back and just regain that defensive structure of theirs before Exeter opt to slow things down. Doyle Harris has it, just plays the 1-2 with the former Rochdale man, Ethan Briley. Ball down the right-hand side, chance in the penalty area. Wareham cuts back, challenge comes in from the City defence and does well just to scramble the ball clear. He looks a very lonely figure up front, does Jayden Wareham for Exeter. Just couldn't quite fashion the effort on goal there.
He does, but it was a great ball through when he found himself running towards goal with Kusanov after him. I always find that a bit too easy at times for Manchester City. One ball through and they're almost there. His pace gets him out of all kinds of trouble, but City, we need to look at that defensively against better players. That could be a goal.
Nathan Ake plays it in towards Antoine Semenyo. Ake linked with a move away from Manchester City in the January transfer window. The likes of Barcelona being rumoured to be interested, and have a few London sides in the shape of Fulham, West Ham United and Crystal Palace. However, he started now the last 2 games in Pep Guardiola's Sky Blue Manchester City, as Rodri has a possession once more on the halfway line. He's just put under a bit of pressure and Rodri loses out, and this could provide an opening for Exeter to break forward. Up the right hand side they look to go. Eventually it shifted across towards the left. Aitchison was in an offside position. You feel as though Exeter probably could have done a little bit better with that one. Rodri had his pocket picked on the halfway line. You don't see that all too often. Much to Manchester City's relief, the offside flag goes up.
No, they don't, but it's a tricky game they're playing in that the 2 centre-backs are the only defenders there, with Rodri just ahead of him. And so on that occasion, when Rodri he went to play the ball back to the centre-backs, and he got pickpocketed, and of course then they're under attack. So it's going forward, it's very advantageous. They've got so many men in there, the midfielders, they're popping it 1-2s, but if they nick it, they're straight through on goal, I have to say. And it's not like Rodri either to give that ball away.
Former Manchester City midfielder Jim Whitley alongside myself, Josh Watton, for commentary of this FA Cup third round tie. Manchester City leading Exeter City by 1-0. The Grecians looking to play their way out from the back once more. Right hand side, instead they go direct. It's Ake underneath it and wins ahead of her Manchester City. We'll be back across to London Road shortly, but Manchester City looking to make inroads in behind once more here. 1-0 they lead. Kusanov in the possession on the right of halfway. Carries it towards the Exeter half of the field. Once again Shirky, he's come quite deep in this one, looking to get himself involved as well, just to turn the corner and feed it in towards Lewis, who's occupying that inverted full-back position that we've seen Pep Guardiola deploy on a number of occasions. City switching across towards Semenyo, tight to the touchline on the far side. City playing from left to right in the first half as we look at it here at the Etihad Stadium. Patient build-up from the Sky Blues. Rodri in the possession, out towards Kusanov again, who's made his way into more of a right-back position here. Finds Makeda, who has 2 red and white shirts around him, does well just to shepherd the ball out in the end and win a throw-in for his side. Lewis is across to take it. There's not too many options down the touchline here for Rico Lewis, as the attack maybe just goes a little bit stale. This time it just bounces off the laces of Makeda out for an Exeter City throw-in. So we've got this breaking play. Let's get back to London Road. Peterborough against Bolton with Jack Dearden.
Still 0-0, Josh. Wanderers a bit wasteful in possession, particularly in the final third of the field when they're attacking the Peterborough goal. It's a very open game though. Peterborough very, very capable on counter-attacking opportunities, as do Bolton on occasions. 2 opportunities though, both falling to Gale. At least one of those should have given Wanderers a lead, but both chances not taken. Still remains 0-0.
Chance for City into the penalty area. Reiners has it, twist towards the byline before the challenge from Fitzwater comes in. Does well to stretch out his left leg and just hook the ball back in towards the shins of Reiners. It then deflects out for an Exeter City goal kick. Just a word on Exeter so far, because defensively they have looked quite solid. It was just that scrap inside the penalty area where Manchester City were able to capitalise.
Yeah, that's because they're trying to play 10 at the back. They're going so. I think I counted 6 at one stage there. They're being penned back. There's nothing else they can do. And but on that occasion, Semenyo, I have to say, got the ball. Ake went an overlap. He cut inside and played a fantastic ball in to Reinders, who had also made a forward run. Good play to try and break down so many men in defence for Exeter. So they're going to have to be patient, City. They've got the men. They're still playing with these 2 centre-backs as the only defenders there, with Rico playing inverted. And so is Ake, with Rodri just in front of those 2 centre halves, and so they're making it very difficult, putting a lot of bodies in midfield, just trying to frustrate Exeter and open the game up.
Manchester City have won every home game against lower league opposition they've faced since 2015. Middlesbrough the last time to cause an upset here, as Makeda breaks forward again on the edge of the penalty area, across towards the right hand side where Lewis looks to collect. The ball just runs over the top of his left boot and he's forced to collect it tight to the touchline on the right hand side. Plays it back up the line looking for Kusanov. finds Rodri around 5 yards or so to his left, edge of the penalty area as he dribbles laterally and finds Semenyo, edge of the box. There's a shot from him, deflects, Rodri tries, and Rodri smashes it into the bottom corner, and that is an absolutely superb strike from the Ballon d'Or winner, driven low into the bottom corner, and no goalkeeper would have stopped that bullet from Rodri. Manchester City double their advantage in this one. City 2, Exeter 0.
Welcome back, Rodri. Beautiful strike technically. Didn't smash it, used the laces, went for technique, went to keep it down, and he's hit that from about 20-25 yards, and it's driven without a bounce into the net. I think the keeper got a hand to it. But that started with Semenyo getting to the edge of the box. He turned, he shifted the ball onto his right foot, went for a shot, it ricocheted out, and Rodri ran onto it and hit the ball so sweetly. Technically wonderful to see, and Manchester City, after all their dominance, have got the goals they deserved.
Yes, Rodri begins his comeback from injury, or continues rather his comeback from injury. He's played in the last 3, only one start in those. This is second since returning to the fray, and City are on the front foot again with Haaland, right hand side. Brings it back on his left foot. He was in an unfamiliar position there where he was looking to cross to a centre forward. It's usually him looking to get on the end of those. Semenyo occupied the centre forward position. However, Haaland opted not to try and whip that one in. The ball's ended up all the way at the back of the feet of James Trafford. 2-0 the score to Manchester City. Max Alane and Rodri the goal scorers for Pep Guardiola's side. I think it's fair to say they probably already have one foot in the 4th round of football's oldest competition.
Absolutely, but you know they can't rest on 2-0. Go and get 3, go and get 4, then he can bring players off and can rest. The ref has just blown for something there. I don't know quite what he's blown for.
Yeah, spotted something on the halfway line, and he's having a word with Jack Aitchison, and Jayden Wareham's lurking as well.
He's having a word. He's obviously done something, or he's having a few words with the ref off the ball. But yeah, he's had to stop the play for that.
Yeah, there's no complaints there from the Manchester City side or the dugouts, was there?
No. Interestingly, Pep hasn't been off the bench. It's been Reinders that's just occupying the. Just unbelievable, really. But
yeah, Colo Torre's made his way out towards the touchline a couple of times as well, hasn't he? Yeah, but Pep Guardiola maybe just taking a bit of time off, because he's usually very animated on the touchline, isn't he? So this might be the afternoon to rest his heart rate a little bit. But Gary Caldwell, I'm looking at him on the touchline, and it looks as though he wishes he was playing out there as well at times.
Yes,
he's almost trying to kick the ball, and he's punching the air again as Manchester City just play the triangles around the edge of the Exeter penalty area. McAdoo goes in with a challenge at the end of a loose ball and gives away the free kick, maybe a little bit clumsy there. In fact, Gary Caldwell was on the pitch at one point there.
He was. He's gesturing all sorts, I have to say, and yes, I think he wishes he was playing. As a manager, at times you live the moments, and some managers are calm and sit down, like Pep is right now. He's got his feet up, probably got a cup of tea or a glass of wine, I'm not sure, but whereas he is all over the place. But that's a manager for you.
Southampton leading Doncaster Rovers by 2-0 in their FA Cup 3rd round tie here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City leading 2-0 against Exeter in League One. Bolton still tied 0-0 at Peterborough. Regular updates of that one. Earlier this afternoon, Macclesfield stunned the cup holders Crystal Palace to book their place in the 4th round of the FA Cup. They joined Wigan Athletic, who beat higher division opposition as well, in the shape of Preston North End last night. There's a reduced fixture list this weekend as cup games have caused fixtures to clash, and as well as postponements due to frozen pitches. Games involving Salford City and Oldham Athletic falling foul of the weather too, as Nathan Ake has the possession for Manchester City on the left of halfway. Plays it back towards Elaine. Scored his first goal for Pep Guardiola's men in the 11th minute of this one. 2-0 the score as Reinders weaves his way forward up the left again. Ball in towards Semenyo, edge of the penalty area, just beaten to it. Bundles his man over. Free kick goes away of Exeter City. Feels like it's just going to be damage limitation from now on from their point of view.
Well, yes, although I have to say, on the ball, I've seen them switch to a back two and they pushed men forward. So I think 2-0, their game plan of trying to keep it as low scoring as possible. I think they've just thought, well, we're 2-0 down now, let's try and push the men forward. So they have changed their shape. I think, Manchester City here on the ball, Haaland.
Yeah, Haaland on the edge of the area, just looked to poke it through towards Semenyo. Cherki was also lurking there as well, but it didn't break, and now Exeter with a rare chance to break forward up the right hand side. Cole has it, forced to retreat back into his own half of the field. A few groans there from his own supporters. 7,500 have made the long journey up from Devon to watch their side this afternoon, but the ball towards Niskanen on the right hand side, towards the penalty area. Ake beats him to it, Trafford collects in his own 6-yard area, and City start from the back again. And the reason why we're not seeing Pep Guardiola so animated on the touchline is he picked up a yellow card against Brighton on Wednesday, which was his 3rd of the season, so he's forced to watch this one from the stands. It is Pep Liners as well as Kolo Toure issuing instructions in the dugouts, which we can see below us, as Rodri has the possession and floats a diagonal ball out towards the left hand side. Semenyo, with the instep of his bright green boot, brings it down, looks to play it in towards the penalty area. No one quite on the same wavelength there, but City still in possession. Clip towards Haaland in the penalty area, just beaten to it this time by Woodhouse. Falls to McAdoo, right of the penalty area, on his left foot, shimmy, looks to try shape to shoot, does he? Still running laterally before the shot eventually does come in. Not sure if it took a deflection on its way through there. The referee says not, goes straight out for a goal kick to Exeter, but McAdoo looking very lively on his City debut here.
Excellent play. Yes, he jinked, he moved the ball. He's always trying to get it onto his left foot. It came right across the 18-yard box to the little centre circle, and he tried to bend it into that far corner. Couldn't quite get his foot around it. There's a lot of players in the way, but excellent. That started from Rodri, I have to say, in the middle, switching play and moving the ball. He got pickpocketed at that time, we have to say, Josh, but he's been absolutely brilliant getting on the ball.
Brentford won Sheffield Wednesday 0 in the FA Cup. Ball towards the edge of the penalty area from City. Semenyo lurking again, couldn't get on the end of it. Middlesbrough have taken the lead against Fulham in their FA Cup tie at Craven Cottage as well. 1-0 the score there, as Manchester City almost had some defending to do. It's well read there by Kusanov as the ball was drilled over the halfway line by Joe Whitworth, the Exeter goalkeeper. Just chetted it into the path of Lewis, who's been left in a heap on the ground there by Liam Oakes. The referee waves play on. City have the possession with Rodri just on the right of the centre circle. And again, it's just maybe beginning to look like a training ground exercise for Manchester City here on BBC Radio Manchester and on BBC Sounds this afternoon, as Rodri does a bit of a 360 spin there on the ball before playing it up towards Lewis, who instantly returns it back towards Elaine. They're just knocking it round nicely at the back now, Manchester City.
Cherki's kind of ended up in Rodri's position deep. He's a clever player. He knows standing beside Haaland he's not going to get much of the ball, so he's come deep to try and get it, try and move the ball. So the only one that hasn't really done that is Reinders. He's up front and moving around, but they're just passing and moving just to try and again shift it around, move Exeter out of position, and that big opening will come along. Semenyo's been good on the ball. He's been coming inside trying to find space, again having to adapt to playing for Manchester City and the number of players that he will come up against, so that's slightly different. He's going to have to adapt. We'll see how this game goes on.
Exeter thought they had the chance to break there, but the ball did just take a nick off the referee and its way through. Now City can attack the edge of the penalty area. The shot comes in before taking a deflection. It was a wicked fizzed in effort, and Exeter forced to do even more defending here as McAdoo collects it on the right hand side. Kusanov plays his first time ball in towards Cherki, who darts towards the edge of the penalty area. Reinders lurking there, couldn't get the final ball in towards Haaland, who was lurking on the edge of the penalty area, but he's in the possession now, into the box, left-footed effort, saved by the goalkeeper, chance on the rebound, challenge comes in, appeals from the Manchester City support. The referee, Adam Hertzed, doesn't agree, waves for the goal kick to Exeter City. It was a challenge that came in from Woodhouse there. It was a loose ball inside the penalty area. Cherki darted across to try collect it. Certainly got something on the end of it before going to ground. We do have the benefit of a replay here. No VAR in operation in the third round of the FA Cup this season. It was Cherki who faked to shoot. Well, Woodhouse went to ground, didn't he? There was contact. Was he on the ground for perhaps too long? which meant that it was Shirky maybe collided with him. I've seen them give him, Jim.
Absolutely. I don't know what a penalty is anymore, I have to be honest with you. When everything's slowed down, it's totally different. But like I said, there's no VAR on this occasion. I thought it was a bit harsh. But there, Semenyo turned on the centre circle there, turned beautifully, played the ball into Haaland. Haaland one touch onto his left foot, played across the goalkeeper. Very unlucky, and it was Shirky that followed it up. Yeah, I've seen them given. Very unlucky.
Cardiff have equalised against Leyton Orient. 1-1 the score there at Brisbane Road in a top of the table clash in League One. We'll be across to our League One clash shortly as Bolton Wanderers in action against Peterborough. In fact, there's been a goal. Jack Dearden.
But Wanderers hopelessly exposed right at the heart of the penalty area. A long ball. Jimmy J. Morgan read it much better than Toll. Just cleared it away towards the right-hand side. The angle was acute. It was pretty difficult, but he absolutely lashed it into the bottom corner. No chance for Tyler Miller. In fairness, Peter have been the better team, and Wanderers are behind. They trail by 1-0.
Bolton's was on the road, look to continue as City on the front foot again with McAdoo. Takes it towards the byline, past his man as well. Can he find the cross? Well defended in the end from Woodhouse there, just to get across and scramble it clear on the left side of Exeter's back three. They've got work to do to clear the line still though. It's Briley who takes control of things inside his own box before firing the diagonal across towards the left side of City's defence, where Nathan Ake can collect. Plays a 1-2 with the goal scorer of City's second, Rodri, out towards Semenyo on debut, who just rolls the ball back in field with his right boot. Those three, Ake, Rodri and Semenyo, exchange 3-4 passes between each other before it's squared across towards Elaine, who gave City the lead after 11 minutes in this one. 2-0 the score on BBC Radio Manchester, 5 Sports Extra and the BBC Sounds app. Here come Manchester City again, right at the penalty area. Shirky, winding run, marauds in towards the box, cuts back, right-footed ball in, deflects, corner kick to Manchester City. Good play there from Ryan Shirky.
Absolutely, just saw the space, drove into it, kept going. Haaland's run took a couple of players away. I thought he was going to backheel it into McAdoo, but he didn't, and they got a corner, which is played now.
In towards the penalty area, back across, goal at the far post, headed away by Exeter. I thought for a second that was going to nestle in the back of the net. City still on the front foot. McAdoo in towards Haaland, far side of the penalty area, tries to nod it back in towards the 6-yard area, couldn't find a sky blue shirt, in the end turned all the way back towards the halfway line. Burton taking the lead against non-league Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. 1-0 the score there. Burnley double their advantage against Millwall in their third round tie. City on the front foot, ball in, takes a deflection, almost falls at the boot of Semenyo. Instead it's cleared back up towards halfway. Almost everyone on the pitch is crammed inside the final third here as City attack once more. Deflects high in towards the penalty area, and it's quite a simple save for Joe Whitworth to come out and make as he goes to ground. It looks as though he's going to require some treatment as Exeter instantly start to make their way towards the dugout. I've not seen a keeper go down injured to force a break whilst 2-0 down, Jim Whitley, but maybe just a sign of how hard that Exeter are having to work just to stay at 2-0.
Yeah, he's pulling on his toe as if he's got cramp. I don't quite understand what's going on there. We shall see how the treatment goes. But there was from the corner there was a ball dinked into Rico Lewis, and he was probably around 12 yards out, round about the penalty spot, just to the right of the penalty spot, and he tried to hit it first time towards Haaland, and actually he had so much time in the ball, he probably could have brought it down and had a shot. But this is football for you. As the treatment goes on, all the players come and have drinks, taking on instructions, and yes, we'll see what happens. They'll still probe Manchester City, I think, Josh, as the keeper stands up now. I don't really know what was wrong with him.
Looks as though he's received treatment on that right thigh of his as he shakes his leg off. The magic spray, magic sponges maybe being on there from the physios as we just see scenes of the huge travelling support up from Exeter City. Big clash for them. They reached the 4th round last season. That's the first time they got there since 1981, where they reached the quarter-final. That was their best ever finish in the competition. It's arguably one of the biggest days for them as well.
Absolutely. You're talking about the magic sponge. That used to actually come on a bucket when I played, and as soon as they brought the magic sponge out, you were fine. You didn't want it on a cold day. You just got up, I'll be fine. It was horrible. But yeah, the times have changed, the recovery's changed, and everything else they use has changed.
Ipswich 1, Blackpool 0 in the FA Cup as Exeter get things back underway with the goalkeeper Joe Whitworth. High over the halfway line it goes. Wareham rises to challenge, coming together in the air. Looks as though City wanted the free kick there, but the referee says nothing doing as Roderick collided with Whitworth. There's Exeter, I'm surprised really that they've not been as physical as you see some League One sides be in this one.
No, they haven't. I mean, I don't think they've got close enough to have a little stab at them. That's the beauty of Manchester City and the way they play. You know, when you do 1-2 touch play, it's very, very difficult to come in and just show your presence, which is what they're very, very good at. And now, yes, Kushinov went on a run, broke into their half, and the ball has come back, and Rico Lewis is back on it in his own half.
Yeah, back in the side this afternoon, Rico Lewis in the right back position as he just carries the ball more centrally towards the centre circle. There's no real urgency to press from Exeter. Rico Lewis hasn't started in the Premier League for Manchester City since the second game of the season. Defeat against Spurs was the last time he was in the starting lineup, but he has played in every single cup game so far this season as the ball's turned back towards Whitworth. It was a bit awkward for the Exeter goalkeeper there as it just took a couple of bounces before he eventually cleared it with his left boot, but Exeter sloppy in position, picked up by McAdoo. 1-2 with Shirky, back heel back in towards the 17-year-old on debut. Lovely turn from him to switch it back towards the right. Shirky takes over things before finding Reiners on the left side of the penalty area. Semenyo in support, finds him as well, looks for the give and go with Reiners, who just loses out in possession. The long ball down the right hand side is deflected out for an Exeter City throw in as they attack the goal to the left of us here as they look to get things back underway, and it probably is Tiani Reiners who's the one in midfield who's probably struggled the most to get into this game as well, hasn't he?
Yes, as I said, Shirky's quite clever, and he's dropped deep to get it and just to get a few touches going. Reiners hasn't been able to do that. I would. It's a very lonely job up there with Haaland. Haaland's the only one that can kind of get away with that. Just standing up there, he'll wait and wait and wait, almost 8 or 9 minutes if he has to, before that ball gets in the back of the net. But on this occasion, as a midfielder, there's so many bodies, you sometimes have to look for it.
40 minutes on the clock here. Manchester City 2, Exeter City 0 on BBC Radio Manchester. We're also on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds. We bring you commentary of every Manchester City game throughout the season. Also content coming your way on the BBC Sounds app. If you just head there, search for Manchester City, click subscribe, you'll get a notification when any new content is available. Semenyo in possession, left of the penalty area, brings it back on his left foot, looks for the byline, step over, crosses, Haaland's there, beaten to it by Fitzwater, turn behind, corner kick Manchester City.
Brilliant play. He's jinked past one with ease. Another one came in, he did a quick step over, knocked it on his left, and he's drilled it across the floor. I think you'll have to find on these last few that he's crossed, they've all been on the deck, so players will have to work out what he does best. So he hasn't kind of floated anything to the back stick. They've all been on the deck.
Corner comes in, centre of the area, deflects at him. Manchester City have a third, and that has come from absolutely nowhere. Ball lofted high into the 6-yard area. It was attempted to be cleared by Jack Fitzwater, headed it away but took a deflection on its way in. Can't quite see who got the final touch there, but Manchester City 3 goals to the good now in this one. City 3, Exeter 0.
It just kind of came from nothing. I wouldn't even say the corner was that special of a ball in, but the ball got floated into the near post. I think the defender missed it. I think the keeper went and flapped at it. So the ball comes in. It comes into that near post. Just bodies around. I think the Exeter players have missed everything. Kushinov got bust. So the centre back in Jack Fitzwater's headed it, and it's hit Ake and gone into the back of the net. As simple as that.
Yes, Nathan Ake has been credited with the goal. I'm not too sure he'll ever score an easier one than that. It was headed against his calf and then just trickled over the goal line. Yep. He won't care, they all count. Rodgers was an absolute screamer. Ake's was a bit of a touch of fortune. but both of their names are on the score sheet as Manchester City lead 3-0 against Exeter here on BBC Radio Manchester. They've got us back underway, 42 and a half minutes on the clock. Also action in League One this afternoon, Bolton trailing Peterborough last we heard. Any sign of a response from the Wanderers, Jack Dearden?
No, another shot high over the crossbar, still 1-0 to Peterborough United. Really poor Bolton, caught out defensively. A great finish from Jimmy J. Morgan though, who fired it into the bottom corner. It's a different dimension this game for Bolton because Peterborough have dominated the possession. They've had twice as much of it as Bolton Wanderers, and here they come again. Now the home side fired a shot just over the bar. Not great this from the Wanderers at the moment. Still 1-0 Peterborough, and a change on the way for Bolton Wanderers. A double change before half time. It's going to be made by the Wanderers head coach Stephen Schumacher. Dolby is one of the changes coming on. The other one will be Cyrus Christie.
We'll keep you updated with everything that goes on at London Road in that one. Bolton trailing on the road again as City have the possession here at the Etihad. Lead Exeter by 3-0. Ball in field from Kusanov. Not the best touch there from Rico Lewis. It just trickles over the line on this near side. Exeter have a throw in. That's the first time they've been in the City half of the field in quite some time. Briley takes a throw in, goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, so that territory didn't last long as they go along towards halfway. Kusanov challenges for possession on halfway, appeals for handball as it appeared to bounce up off the thigh of Rico Lewis before striking his arm, so nothing doing in the eyes of the referee. Max Allain now in the possession, just slows things down, puts his studs on the ball before trying to feed it through the eye of the needle towards Shirky. He couldn't get on the end of it as Exeter break forward up the right hand side. Chance for them in the penalty area. Niskanen hits it and puts it past the post. What an opportunity that was for Exeter to get themselves on the score sheet. Direct ball down the right hand side. Niskanen on the end of it, right footed, beat Trafford but also beat the post. 3-0.
Yeah, again, it just amazes me how one ball can beat so many. It was a midfielder, actually. The midfielder just kind of knocked it round the corner on the floor. It was in between Allen and Ake, and he got in a better strike, and that's in the back of the net. But one ball shouldn't beat our back four like that, I have to say. He came on the blind side. Ake would just have to look, make sure where your player is every time.
Burton now 2-0 up against Boreham Wood, the non-league side, as Exeter come forward again. We've got 2 minutes of additional time here at the end of the first half at the Etihad Stadium. City leading Exeter by 3-0. There's also 2 minutes added on at London Road where Bolton Wanderers trail by 1-0 against Peterborough United. Burnley have added a third against Millwall in their third round tie. 3-0 the Clarets lead at Turf Moor. Exeter in the possession. BBC Radio Manchester and on BBC Sounds for all of your FA Cup action as Exeter come forward again into the penalty area off the right. Wareham's there, beaten to it by Kusanov, who just watches the ball slowly roll over the byline. James Trafford comes out to high-five his centre half. Those two haven't had too many questions asked of them, the centre halves Allain and Kusanov, but when they have, they've just about come up with the answers.
Yeah, absolutely. That was brilliant from Kusanov. Had everything under control. The striker went through, he used his pace, he waited for him to come in, nudged him with his shoulder, he went flying onto his knees, and he just let the ball run out of play. Brilliant, very casual, but he knew exactly what he was doing.
At BBC RM Sport on Exeter have your say. City fans, as you come forward again up the right, too much on that ball for Reiners to get onto the end of inside the penalty area. Exeter come away with it. If you're a Macclesfield fan as well, also give us a tweet, let us know how you're celebrating after the most famous win in your club's history this afternoon, beating Crystal Palace by 2-1. We'll reflect on that one with Bill Rice at half-time. As City win the ball back high up the field for a moment before it's regathered by Aitchison. The Exeter striker forced into the left-back position. City win it back. Reinders across goal and in. It's 4, and it's oh so simple for Manchester City. They win the ball back high up the field. Reinders free in the penalty area, crosses it in. It's an own goal in the end, I believe, that comes off Luca Woodhouse. City have a fourth, Manchester City 4, Exeter City 0.
It was good play again. Macedo on the right hand side, very tricky when he gets on the ball. He cut inside and there was an underlap run there from Reinders. They played the ball into him. He's crossed right across the ball with so much pace, and that's taken a ricochet and gone in. But yeah, very good from Macedo. Played it in. There was an underlap run. Reinders played it across. Just go with pace. Hit it into an area, and it was a defender that couldn't sort his feet out. It was an own goal.
Yeah, it was Jack Fitzwater in the end who eventually came off, but just shows Jim Whitley, if you get in those positions and put the ball there, it can go anywhere.
Absolutely. Semenyo's doing the same on the other side. You just get into an area when you're a defender running the other way and things happen, it's so difficult to move your feet when it comes in at such pace. And so often, I remember Manchester City from way back would get into that area and just pummel any team with those balls, hit them so hard. Walker used to do it, we'd drive it so hard across that 6-yard box. Very difficult to defend against.
Half-time here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City in cruise control here. It was Exeter who came closest to taking the lead early on, though. Oates headed goalwards before Trafford parried all over the bar, but after that it was all about Manchester City. Goals from Elaine, Roderick, Ake and a Fitzwater own goal gives Pep Guardiola's side a 4-0 lead at the break.
Yeah, 4-0 City lead. The thoughts of Jim Whitley to come on Total Sport, on BBC Radio Manchester, on BBC Sounds and 5 Sports Extra. It's also half-time at London Road in League One. Peterborough against Bolton. Jack Dearden.
Overall, the 45 minutes very disjointed from Bolton Wanderers, wasteful in possession, had a couple of opportunities early on, both falling to Gale. None of those was taken. They were punished then on 34 minutes. JJ Morgan slammed an opportunity into the bottom corner, and very interestingly, right on the stroke of half-time, Dolby and Christie came on off the subs bench. Sheehan and Gale went off. Lots of work to do for Wanderers in the second half, trailing 1-0.
So Bolton trailing at the break. No such dramas for Manchester City on a day that Macclesfield have executed the biggest upset in FA Cup history, aside from the 6th tier, knocking out the holders 2-1 at the Moss Rose this afternoon. More reaction to that to come on BBC Radio Manchester. We said, could there be another shock on the cards here at the Etihad this afternoon as League One Exeter City visit Manchester City? Pep Guardiola, though, taking no chances with his team selection, extremely strong. The likes of Rodri and Erling Haaland starting, and Jim Whitley, it has paid off in spades. They lead 4-0 at the break, and you have to say they have been utterly ruthless pretty much from the start.
They have. They've kept the ball. They've looked after it. They've made 1-2 touches, little passes into midfield. They've been bold in playing with just 2 at the back and allowing the fullbacks to push on, with Rico going as that inverted midfielder. And they've been absolutely brilliant, and it's gone to plan, which gives Pep and the team the chance, I suppose, to rest players should he need to. Now he's got that buffer. I wouldn't think the likes of Exeter are going to bang in 4 goals right now, but it just gives them options, move the team around and rest players if needed. But the likes of Semenyo and Macedo on both wings have both done their jobs and been dangerous out wide. Same again in the second half.
Well, that said, I mean, you know, City, there's no way City are not going through from here. I'm sure they can make as many changes as they like at half-time. Unless they bring on an ineligible player and somehow get knocked out, they are in the 4th round of the FA Cup. However, Exeter gave it a go from the start, and you know, we must remember, really important save actually early on from James Trafford when he palmed one over the bar from a set piece, because if that goes in, it's a very different afternoon.
Absolutely. You just get a little bit more nervy. You then start to wonder what the afternoon's going to be like, especially off the back of the last 3 games where they haven't got the points that they needed or the wins. You know, so that would always come to the back of your head. So to go 4 goals up, it's actually quite nice. As defenders, and I've said this before, they'll want to keep a clean sheet, regardless of who's playing at the back. The goalkeeper Trafford, he wants to come in and have a clean sheet. So that's something that will work on. And for me, as a player, a clean sheet means a lot, actually.
Yeah, and it will mean a lot to James Trafford as well. So his save kept it at 0-0, and from there City really didn't look back, responded so well. And a first goal for Manchester City for Max Elaine as well opened the scoring. Maybe not quite how he dreamt it, Jim, in the way it went in, but nevertheless they all count. He's on target. He's got a Manchester City goal to his name.
Absolutely. When you're reading the results and you see a name there, it doesn't say it just crept over the line, you know. And I understand them. A goal's a goal. He'll be delighted, you know, to come back from his loan move and be now playing with Manchester City. And he's looked very, 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 very calm at the back, I have to say. Fits in the mould of Manchester City, passing the ball about at the back, and he's done well. He'll grow in stature. He'll be able to start shouting at the players if he needs to, because it's very difficult as a youngster to come in and start ordering people about, moving Rodri around if he needs to. Very, very difficult, but it's a big learning curve for him, and he's done very well.
So City lead 4-0 at the break. Are you expecting changes from them to rest one or two with Newcastle on Tuesday in mind, or perhaps are you even from an Exeter perspective thinking of changes, because they'll be well aware Salford conceded 8 here at this stage last season. They won't want the same sort of thing to happen to them.
Well, you can look at two sides of that. We're already 4-0 down. Let's change formation. Should we push 4 or 5 up front and change it for Manchester City, bearing in mind they might get hit on the break and concede more? But they're already going out as it happens. Why not try and get a goal against Manchester City? Could be the way they're thinking as an Exeter manager. However, Manchester City, will there be change at half-time? I don't think there ever is a change at half-time. I'm not sure with that, but I think there'll be changes definitely later on down the line. If you don't see subs today, there's something wrong.
Right, Jim Whitley, you'll be back with us for the second half. Manchester City leading Exeter by 4-0 in the FA Cup. You're listening to BBC Radio Manchester live from the Etihad Stadium. We're also on BBC Sounds and on 5 Sports Extra this afternoon. Let's get back to London Road and speak to Jack Dearden, if we can, about Bolton trailing 1-0 at the break. Jack, they made changes, 3 of them before this game. On the evidence of the match so far, how's that working out for Steven Schumacher?
Well, not very well at the moment, Bill. One of those 3 changes was taken off, of course, just before half-time as well. That was Thierry Gale. Josh Sheehan as well taken off. This was just literally a couple of minutes before the referee blew the half-time whistle. It's very, very unusual time in any game to make those sort of changes, so I think that might be a little bit of an admission, Bill, that those changes haven't worked. The other ones, Conway, not quite done as well, but to be fair, I mean, he's done brilliant this season. I think Max Conway, he's had made an outstanding contribution, but in the last couple of weeks he was left out as well, of course, whether that was for rest or selection purposes. He hasn't quite looked as well, but they're just totally disjointed at the moment, Bill, and Gale should, for me, have taken one of 2 real decent opportunities very early on. You'll have heard Steven Schumacher on BBC Radio Manchester talk about the opportunities where they need to score from. Well, he had 2 very similar, ball cut back into the penalty area on both occasions. Very, very wasteful. There's so much room for improvement in all departments, there's no doubt at all about that. And there was sloppy defensively at the back, punished on 34 minutes. It's a good finish from JJ Morgan, but I think Tyler Miller might not be too pleased with the part he played in the goal. He seemed to go under his body and just nestled in the far corner. It's certainly not good enough.
Yeah, and Bolton's woes in front of goal continue. Thank you, Jack. Regular reports to come on Peterborough against Bolton from the second half in League One this afternoon. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, we know City leading Exeter by 4-0 at the break here. Burton 2-0 up away at Boreham Wood. Burnley lead Millwall by 3-0. Southampton 3-0 up away at Doncaster. Fulham trail at home to Championship Middlesbrough. Ipswich lead Blackpool by 1-0. It's goalless between Newcastle and Bournemouth. Sheffield Wednesday trail at home to Premier League Brentford by 1-0, and it is goalless between Stoke and Coventry. In the early games, the big story of the day, Macclesfield Town of the 6th tier, the biggest upset in FA Cup history. They knocked out the holders Crystal Palace, beating them by 2-1 at the Moss Rose. More on that game to come shortly. Leicester are through. They won 2-0 at Cheltenham. Sunderland beat Everton on penalties after a 1-1 draw after extra time at Hill Dickinson, and Wolves put 6 past Shrewsbury in a 6-1 victory at Molineux. In the Women's Super League, finished goalless between United and Arsenal. A point then for Mark Skinner's side, who were down to 10. And as we've heard from Jack, Bolton trailing Peterborough by 1-0 at half-time in League One.
When I first met Dave, we were inseparable. I loved the way he talked to me. He made me feel so special. But now, I think he spends more time on his phone.
Hey, smart speaker.
Hold on, did he just say my name? Yes, Dave, I'm listening.
Play BBC Radio Manchester.
Oh, Dave, I knew you still loved me. Playing BBC Radio Manchester.
Thank you for listening to BBC Radio Manchester on your smart speaker. Good to have you with us.
Just say, play BBC Radio Manchester.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Bill Rice live at the Etihad Stadium this afternoon, where Manchester City lead Exeter of League One by 4-0 at the break. The Blues are well on their way to booking their place in the fourth round draw. Wigan Athletic already there. They beat Preston last night by 1-0. And non-league Macclesfield Town will be in the fourth round draw too after a magical day at the Moss Rose. They have made a little bit of FA Cup history, producing one of the greatest shocks in the competition's long, illustrious years, with a stunning performance, knocking out the holders, Crystal Palace. The Silkmen beating the Eagles 2-1, 117 places below the Premier League side, but this is how they did it.
It is Macclesfield FC against Crystal Palace. The third round is underway of the FA Cup.
I wanted to go and play with freedom because, listen, they've got nothing to lose. They've done absolutely unbelievable to get to this stage of the competition, so just go and express themselves and enjoy the occasion.
Duffy clips the ball into the box, heads go up, Dawson gets it, and Dawson nods it into the bottom right-hand corner. Macclesfield FC captain Paul Dawson has given the Silkmen the lead against the FA Cup holders. There is the half-time whistle, and it sounds almost like the full-time whistle. Listen to those cheers. Macclesfield FC 1, Crystal Palace 0 at half-time.
No matter what you do in life, you want to do something to make yourself proud and, you know, look at the players, what an opportunity they've got to go and perform in front of millions of people.
Oh, defensive! Oh my goodness me! Buckley Ricketts has sent Macclesfield FC 2-0 up against the FA Cup holders. Scenes of absolute delirium at Moss Rose. Macclesfield FC 2, Crystal Palace 0. Hard on effort from Wharton. Oh, that's the first great save by Max Durnley. It was Wharton who fired it first time left-footed, and it needed a smart save from the Macclesfield goalkeeper. Pino strokes it. Oh, he scores, does Jeremy Pino. There's finally some class from Crystal Palace. It's a clip free kick into the top right-hand corner of the goal, but Palace have only got a minute left of this one. Macclesfield FC 2, Crystal Palace 1. And the referee blows the whistle. Scenes of utter jubilation here at Moss Rose as the fans stream onto the pitch, celebrating with their heroes on a day that Macclesfield FC will never, ever forget. They have knocked out the holders of the FA Cup, Crystal Palace, who won. What a sensational day at the Moss Rose. Congratulations to everyone at Macclesfield Town, including owner Rob Smethurst and the boss John Rooney. In fact, let's hear from him. He was almost lost for words after a remarkable day.
It's incredible. It still doesn't feel real. Obviously, before the game, we were talking about, you know, with a bit of hope and listening to the FA Cup, but did they really believe it? No, probably not. But when we went 1-0 up, I was like, they're going to come on top now. But I thought the lads, I didn't think, obviously we won the game, but I thought we were well-deserved winners as well. I thought we were outstanding.
I've spoken to both of your goal scorers, and clearly the momentum of the game was shifted by the timing of both of those goals. But I think particularly the goal from Paul Dawson really gave you hope. And I just wonder, from a coach's perspective, just before half-time, how important was that for you?
No, it's, you know, you take scoring a goal against the Premier League side, but to score just before half-time and then to get the lads in, see the next 5 minutes out and then get them in, and just to tell them about the second half, how can we slow the game down, how can we manage the game, how can we take the sting out of it if they have a spell. And they carried it out, every one of them to a man. The subs that come on, outstanding, and you know, I was touch on, I couldn't be any prouder, and you know, it's still surreal to me. It's wow, can't believe it.
And you know these players are here because they're good footballers, they have ability, but was there any question in your mind they had the character to get over the line today, having taken the lead?
It's hard because you're up against the Premier League side, so whether they've got character or not, but I thought they showed the character in abundance. You know, they showed a real grit about him, winning the second duels, winning the individual battles, 2 centre halves were solid as a rock, head and everything. You know, I thought we were outstanding, you know, so if anyone questions their lad's character in there after seeing that today, wow.
That's the Macclesfield boss, John Rooney. Congratulations to him and all at Macclesfield Town after a sensational FA Cup win over the holders Crystal Palace. They are into Monday's 4th round draw. If you haven't seen any of the action from Macclesfield's game already, make sure you have a look on social media at BBC RM Sport, where you'll find reaction and highlights. And there are highlights of all today's FA Cup action on Match of the Day on BBC One at 10:40 this evening. The Exeter players out for the second half here at the Etihad Stadium with, I was going to say with work to do, but if we're honest, with 45 minutes to survive without conceding too many more goals is probably a more accurate way to describe it. They trail Manchester City by 4-0 at the break. The former Bolton Wanderers striker Josh McGuinness has been warming up during the half-time interval and is waiting on the sideline to come on for the second 45 minutes. So as the City players emerge from the tunnel and Oasis players from the PA system, we rejoin your commentary team on Total Sport of the former City man Jim Whitley and this man Josh Watt.
Thank you, Bill. Thankless task. I think this is a definition for Josh McGuinness as he's stripped and ready to come on this near side for the second 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes at the travelling 7,500 Exeter fans may want to be over as quick as possible. Their side have been up against it here against Manchester City, who've been professional, in top form as ever, and lead by 4-0 as we approach the start of the second half. It does look as though that Pep Guardiola is going to make a change as well, with Nico O'Reilly ready to come on this near side. McGuinness takes his place on the field in place of Jayden Wareham. Just waiting to see which number goes up in the colours of Manchester City as I start counting the number of sky blue shirts on the pitch. It also looks as though that Stefan Mfunny is going to be introduced alongside Divine Musaka as well for the final 45 minutes. Rodri is the first to make way, scoring his first goal since that time when they won the Premier League here against West Ham on the last day of the season. Erling Haaland is also replaced. Coming on in his place is Divine Musaka, and the final Manchester City player to depart at the beginning of the second half is Nathan Ake, as rumours continue to swirl around his future. So triple substitution from Pep Guardiola at the break. Jim Whitley alongside myself, Josh Watson on BBC Radio Manchester, and I'm guessing when you 4-0 up, it does give yourself the freedom to make such changes.
Oh, absolutely. It's gone to the game plan. He can rest players that are needed. I wasn't sure whether he was going to do it at half-time. I think you'd definitely see it later on, but he has done it at half-time. Has brought some fresh legs on Rodri in particular. Look after him, wrap him up as much as you can. Same as Haaland. They all deserve a rest. And let's just see how the youngsters come in and do.
City in the possession. It is Mfunny in the left-back position. He just puts his left boot on the ball before dribbling it more centrally, squares it across towards the lane. He looks to get his side on the front foot at the beginning of the second half. 4-0 the score on BBC Radio Manchester. Josh Watson and Jim Whitley with you, also on 5 Sports Extra and via the BBC Sounds app. On the left hand side, Mfunny has it into the penalty area. His cross goes, takes a deflection on its way in before Exeter try clear it up towards the halfway line. Not the best clearance, however. A late challenge comes in from Mfunny, so the free kick goes away of the away side.
Just looking at how they're shaped up here, Mfunny has gone as left back. Max Allen, we've got Kushinov and Rico, who's also still playing as an inverted and coming in wherever he can. We've got Nico's actually playing the holding role, which I find interesting. So he's gone where Rodri's been, but can also drop in as a centre-back if needed. Whether Pep is playing with that, I have no idea. Trying something new, they're 4-0 up, why not? But Nico's in there playing as that holding midfielder. As they shape up now on with a throw into Exeter on the right hand side.
Yeah, taken back in towards their own half the field, but once again you can just see the aggression in the Manchester City press as it switched across towards the left where Oakes collects. He's bundled over and wins a free kick. It was McKady who was just too keen in his challenge there, on 10 yards or so away from the halfway line. Just looking at the talent that has come through this Manchester City Academy over the last few years. Misaka, 18 years of old on the field. McKay started, he's only 17. Stefan Mfunny only 17 as well, along with other academy graduates introduced in the shape of Nico O'Reilly, Rico Lewis starting from the off as well. James Trafford in goal. The production line of Manchester City just keeps on giving. James Trafford has a possession on the edge of his own 18-yard box.
It's good play. There's a lot of youngsters in. And you've got the likes of Haaland and Rodri in the dressing room with them to build on and for them to look up to. But they're pressing quite high at the moment. Exeter, they've gone quite high. Can definitely see the press here with Semenyo on the ball. But they went almost man for man. They've now retreated, but it was very, very much like, let's go and try and win it high. That's the only way they're going to try and score a goal, to be honest with you, because they're not going to pass it out from the back. But try and win it high. Something Manchester City are very good at doing, Josh, is winning the ball up. As soon as they lose the ball, they try and get it back quickly to gain possession and move the ball.
City in the possession on the halfway line. 4-0 the score, 48 minutes played on BBC Radio Manchester. Right hand side, City have it. McKay with the step overs, cuts in field as his bright orange boots illuminate the right wing from the Man City attack. Out towards Semenyo, who looks for the 1-2, gets a return as well, left of the penalty area, left footed ball into the box, and it's turned in. That is 5, and it is oh so easy for Manchester City now. What a brilliant goal it was though. Semenyo's ball across. Lewis looks in a little bit of discomfort as he wheels away in celebration, but Manchester City showing their class in this one. City 5, Exeter 0.
Again, nothing special. It was magnificent. Mafini played the ball out wide to Semenyo. Semenyo's played it one touch around the corner with his right foot for a 1-2 with, I think it was Shirky, played it into his path. I don't even think he had another touch. He just played it left-footed into an area where Rico Lewis came in to shoot. And this is where you have to learn about the players and see what they do. And on each occasion, he's never played it to the back stick. He's always played it to the near. That's where Rico went. And he's got a ball in. It was Reinders, I think, that he ended up getting a 1-2 with. All one-touch stuff from Semenyo, and this is brilliant. When you see kids talking about how he's going to come in and dribble past everyone, that was all one-touch, round the corner, get it back, put the ball into an area. Fantastic play by Semenyo.
A word on the ball into the 6-yard box as well from Antoine Semenyo, because it doesn't matter who your opposition is, everyone's going to struggle to defend that, aren't they?
Absolutely, with pace, just an area, all one touch. So with all the dribbling skills, it's just having a know-how of how to play the game, and he was fantastic in that occasion.
Exeter looking to break forward, right hand side, rare chance for them to attack. Niskanen in, left footed ball towards the far side of the penalty area. There's a shot into the side netting. Well, it's the first bit of excitement that the travelling supporters have had in quite some time in this one. It's been one-way stuff, but a crisp attack up the right, diagonal ball towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Aitchison fires into the side netting. Remains City 5, Exeter 0.
Yeah, City fell asleep just for a moment there with the back four. They let Atkinson was there. Atkinson at the back stick. He chested it down and managed to have a clean strike. He should have gone across the goal. He went to the near post and into the side netting. He'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I have to say, because it was a good opportunity just at least to get a save and someone to follow it in. When you hit the ball like that and it just hits the side net, it's a bit of a letdown.
5-0 the score with 40 minutes still to play here at the Etihad Stadium as well. Exeter City have never lost a game by more than 7 goals. That's happened on 2 occasions. Aston Villa beat them 8-1 in 1985. Bolton Wanderers beaten them in 2023 by 7 goals to 0. There's been a goal at London Road though. Bolton, Peterborough, Jack Dearden.
Long way back now for Wanderers. Second goal for Peterborough United. Matt Garbett, lovely finish. Cushion, side foot shot. Placed it into the bottom corner. And they've come out in this second half. Peterborough threatening to do that ever since the second half started. Much problems now for Bolton to solve. They're trailing 2-0 at Peterborough.
Newcastle lead Bournemouth by a goal to 0 in the FA Cup third round. Work to do for Bolton Wanderers, then their torrid away form set to continue. This is the first of 3 away games in a row in League One for the Wanderers as well. So Bolton fans, you can have your say between 5 and 6 tonight. 0800 218 2255, the number to call as City come forward again. Long ball over the top. Goalkeeper Whitworth comes and collects and looks to get his side back on the front foot. They're up to the halfway line. Ball back in their own half of the field, played by Cole as they look to advance up the right. It's Niskanen who's probably looked the more lively player in Exeter colours in this one, looking to get on the end of a throw-in, but the outstretched left leg of the substitute Stefan M. Funny, on debut for Manchester City off the bench at half-time, does well just to relieve the pressure. City have the ball back, and again we're just seeing this game sort of continue in the same pattern than it has done right from the off. City 5 goals to the good. They have the possession with O'Reilly on the edge of his own penalty area.
Rafinha, I have to say, has been brilliant with Semenyo. Some lovely 1-2 touch stuff with the two of them. It's been quite exquisite. Some of the 1 and 2 touch passing, as we listened to the other game, was wonderful to watch. Shirky dropping in, playing balls, little dummies. Nico's been going in there to get the ball. The passing has been wonderful in those. Shirky's orchestrating it in there. He's almost like the holding midfielder. He's not, but he is moving the ball around. Little dinks around the place. Oh, he's played a fantastic ball in Semenyo.
Here comes Semenyo into the penalty area, looking for a debut goal, and he finds it through the legs of Whitworth. Antoine Semenyo, right-footed, cool as you like. Welcome to Manchester City, Antoine Semenyo. Man City 6, Exeter City 0.
That's brilliant. We just talked about Shirky just getting on the ball, moving it. He twisted and turned around the defender. On this occasion, Semenyo just went on the inside of the defender rather than staying out wide. He's cut inside. The ball's played in behind the defender. He's had one touch, I think, opened his body out and played it in actually through the legs of the keeper. So Semenyo got the ball. It was two men round, little Cruyff turn, played it in. Semenyo's made the run. He's onside, played it in, and he's had one touch, 2 touches, opened the ball, opened his body out and played it in. Again, nothing special. He's not dribbled past anyone, and as kids are watching, this is wonderful stuff without doing too much. He's just made the run that was needed, and a fantastic finish. Great play from Manchester City, but they are really popping it around in that midfield and making it look so easy against some other professional players here.
It's certainly a goal that Antoine Semenyo has deserved as well. He's looked really lively on the left-hand side of the Manchester City attack. He's set a couple up, and there he is, firing home for himself this afternoon. 6-0 the score in favour of Manchester City. Their record winning margin, coincidentally, is 9. That's happened on 2 occasions, against Huddersfield in 1987 and Burton Albion as well in 2019. That was in the League Cup. But Exeter looking for one of their own to give their supporters something to smile about. Niskanen has it on the right, just plays it back towards Ed Turns, who looks for the 1-2. The Welsh under-21 international maybe given a bit of a lesson in defence by this Manchester City attack as his side give the ball away. Again collected by M. Funny, who just does a bit of a Cruyff turn in his own half of the field, turns it back, cool as you like, to James Trafford. And for the young players that have come into the side, Jim Whitley, it looks as though that they are trained with this Man City DNA, aren't they? They know where they're expected to slot in and exactly what they're meant to be doing.
Absolutely, and I think the quality shone through here at the 100-fold. They have been so good on the ball, Manchester City, but one thing that you have to do when you come into Manchester City is still have to work hard, and it's something that the youngsters have had to do. You can't just come in and pass it and do nothing. The work rate is still there. You still have to win the ball back when you lose it, and that is something that they've done very, very well, I have to say, Manchester City.
McAdoo has it for City, right hand side, just loses his foot in his oaks, nips in and takes the ball away. Outside of his right boot, looks just to curl it down the left hand side, but there's no one in Exeter City red and white to give chase. Josh McGuinness the closest there, but he didn't seem interested in chasing down that loose ball, and it allows Man City to come forward again up the right. McAdoo's ball in field, takes a deflection, City win a throw 10 yards or so inside the Exeter half of the field. Playing from right to left as we look at it in the second half. They have the throw on the far side as eventually it comes in and City looks to launch another wave of attack, but this time they lose out on halfway. Exeter can break forward quick as a flash. O'Reilly back, just spots where that ball was going to be played, well read from the Man City man, nips in, wins the ball back, and here come Man City again. One-way traffic in this one.
Absolutely, and on this occasion Moufinho is the one that on the left back who's not pushing on as much as Ake did, so he doesn't really want to leave his 2 centre-backs on their own, which they did a lot of, I have to say, in the first half. He's playing as an out-and-out full-back, pushing on a little bit, but I think wary of his defensive duties, even though Nick O'Reilly there has been the one that's just mopping up any trouble.
Exeter knock it up towards halfway, where it's collected by Elaine, who opened the scoring for the Sky Blues in this one. 57 minutes on the clock on BBC Radio Manchester. City 6, Exeter 0 the score. In the FA Cup third round, more action to come tomorrow as Manchester United take on Brighton under the stewardship of Darren Fletcher. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is meeting with the hierarchy at Old Trafford today to discuss a potential return as caretaker boss towards the end of the season. There's a ball from the right hand side, finds McKay, beats Oaks to it, left footed ball back up the line. City have options in the middle. Here's Shirky with a bit of a shimmy, lands at the feet of O'Reilly on the edge of the area. He's going to go for one, tries to curl it into the top corner, just misjudges it, puts it high and wide past the post. Joe Whitworth wasn't worried about that one, and it remains City 6, Exeter 0.
Yeah, Shirky got on the ball. He tried to do a little bit too much. He's obviously got a lot of confidence right now. He's tried to move it, he tried to shift it, lost the ball, it came out to Nick O'Reilly. He's nonchalantly tried to put it into the top corner. If that had gone in, it would have been like a training ground shot. Very, very casual. But Manchester City won the ball back high again and almost capitalised as they're looking to bring on substitutes right now.
Carlos Mendes Gomez is the man who's ready to come on for Exeter, on loan from Bolton Wanderers, of course, for the season. Making way is Jack Aitchison, who's been given a tough task up front this afternoon for the visitors, it has to be said. Looks as though it's going to be a double switch for Gary Caldwell's side as well, with Akil Higgins also ready to be introduced to the fray. We've just seen Jeremy Doku receive some instructions in the dugout below us as well. Pep Guardiola again not present in the dugout today. He's serving a one-match ban after he picked up a third yellow card of the season in the midweek draw with Brighton. As the goalkeeper Joe Whitworth can get us back underway in this one. Right-footed ball long up and over the halfway line as the seconds continue to tick down. 59 on the clock. Here come Exeter. Ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Higgins gives chase. Niskanen gets on the end of it. Right hand side. Clips it goalwards as Mfunny looks to try shield it out for a goal kick. It takes a deflection and it will be a corner kick to Exeter City, and a first chance in quite some time for them to create some pressure on this Manchester City goal.
Yeah, has they managed to get them and turn them quite quickly. Fino had the chance to try and clear it, but couldn't quite stop the ball from going over the line, as Exeter now turn up to try and see if they can get something back from the 6 goals that they conceded right now. I think they'd love a goal, I'll be honest with you. If I was a player, I would. It's very difficult against Manchester City right now.
Ethan Brierley towards the far post. It goes over the top of everyone. Will be collected by Mendes Gomez by the corner flag. He is forced to retreat back to his own halfway line, where he gives away the possession, and here's Semenyo, can set McKay free if he wants to do so, opts not to, instead switches it out towards the left hand side where it's collected by City once again as Exeter flood back towards the edge of their own penalty area. Masako is on the end of that ball across. Exeter do well to regroup, but now it's City applying the pressure once more. Mfunny has it, options in front of him, just plays it back up towards Rhiners, who looks for the give and go with O'Reilly, but he instead plays it back out towards Mfunny. Looks for options in the middle. There's sort of a gap in the penalty area that you'd usually see Erling Haaland occupy. He was substituted off at half time as the ball makes its way now across towards Kusanov in the right back position for Manchester City. Finds Lewis, plays it into O'Reilly as those two just exchange 4 or 5 passes inside the Exeter half as they look to just continue to toy with the League One side's defence. 6-0 the score with 61 minutes on the clock. We'll be back to London Road shortly, where Bolton Wanderers trail by 2-0 against Peterborough. Earlier today, Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace by 2-1, and one of the greatest, if not the greatest, FA Cup upset of all time. Left hand side, Mfunny, crowd turn into the penalty area, right footed shot goalwards, deflects, doesn't go out. Exeter clear it up towards halfway. McGuinness, the intended target there, won't get a chance to get anything on the ball. City do well just to turn it back into their own half of the field, where it's collected by Abdulkadir Kusanov. Double switch lined up here for the Sky Blues. Jeremy Doku and Bernardo Silva both ready to come on. Interestingly, Mateus seemed as though he was ready to come on just moments ago. They've opted not to make that switch, and instead it's going to be Bernardo who's introduced for the final half an hour or so of this one. But City on the front foot still. Shirky out towards the right hand side. McAdoo looks for the give and go option with Masaka, who has his back towards the penalty area, forced to just play it into the feet of Shirky again, as Exeter have everybody bar McGuinness behind the ball defensively. Out towards the left hand side they have it now. Mfunny, Semenyo in support, into the penalty area on the left, cuts it back, chance to shoot, they do, it deflects and it just goes past the post. Corner kick given to Manchester City. Relentless pressure here for the home side, and now the ball trickles over the line. Will that give them the chance to make this double switch? Right hand side of the penalty area, this corner kick will be taken, and it does look as though Pep Lijnders has given the instruction to the fourth official that City want to make this swap. There's been a goal at London Road. Jack Dearden.
From absolutely nowhere, Wanderers have given themselves a fighting chance. They trail by 2 goals to 1, but a classic delivery from Conway down the left-hand side into the penalty area and converted. Great side foot finish from the Wanderers striker, one of several changes made in the second half. Dolby has given Wanderers a lifeline. Peterborough 2, Wanderers 1.
So some hope for Bolton Wanderers there, little hope for Exeter City here, as Manchester City showing their class. 6 goals to the good. There's a double substitution which sees Antoine Semenyo, a goal scoring debut from him. He makes his way towards the sidelines, as does Max Allain, who opened the scoring for Manchester City this afternoon. Jeremy Doku and Bernardo Silva introduced for the final 27 minutes of this one. Manchester City corner, 6-0 they lead, both arms raised from McAdoo, the corner taker. Goes low towards the right of the penalty area. Shirky returns it towards McAdoo. Can he shoot? Forced to lay it off instead towards Lewis. City player down inside the penalty area, but the Sky Blues play on. Step overs from Silva into the penalty area. Cuts back, 6-yard box, cleared away by Exeter before being volleyed up towards the halfway line. And another goal at London Road, Jack Dearden.
And this could finally see off the challenge of Bolton Wanderers. Lisby fired it in at the near post. She might have taken a touch off the inside of the upright, but just as Wanderers had given themselves a lifeline, with the very next attack deep inside the penalty area, Peterborough scored a 3rd goal. Awful at the back this afternoon by Bolton. Peterborough 3, Wanderers 1.
Brentford 2-0 up against Sheffield Wednesday. Burnley 4-0 up against Millwall. Both of those FA Cup 3rd round ties. Bolton fans, if you want to get in touch and discuss where does your season go from here, 0800 218 2255 is a number to call. We're with you till 6 here at the Etihad Stadium, where City lead Exeter by 6 goals to 0. They're looking for more on the left of the penalty area. Doku on off the bench. Bit of a twist towards the byline. Cuts it back, deflects off Niskanen. Corner kick to Manchester City.
I was going to say, Josh, I mean, Exeter players will be ecstatic that they brought on 2 really, really poor players in Silva and Doku. I mean, that's incredible for them to come on. Scary, you know, Semenyo comes on and Doku's there. I mean, that's just awful as an Exeter player to think, oh, can't even have a rest. That's the strength and depth. They'll be there just to add to the youngsters that are on the pitch right now.
Corner kick to City. Taken low, right-footed towards the edge of the area. Lewis has it, plays it back towards Shirky, who clips it towards the far side of the 6-yard area. Flicked on in there by Musaka. Just can't angle it goalwards. Goes out for a goal kick. There's Divine Musaka. That's probably his first chance to really create anything in front of goal. He's taken up that role which has been vacated by Erling Haaland at half-time. It's not an easy one to fulfil, is it? But it looks as though he's out to prove a point.
It's very, very difficult. I think playing up front for Manchester City is a thankless task. The way Manchester City knock it around, it rarely comes through the centre back, the striker, because there's so many bodies in there. It's almost impossible. So you just have to wait your turn, which is why Shirky a lot of the time drops in deep, because he knows it's very difficult to get in those holes. Very, very difficult. And as they set up right now, Manchester City, Nico Riley's gone to left back, with Mafinha gone in as the other centre half, with Kushinov and on the right hand side. Yes, in playing still as an inverted play, but it's as is with Manchester City. Keep probing, keep pushing, winning the ball up high, and you'll get results.
Bournemouth now lead Newcastle United by 2-1 in that FA Cup clash, an All-Premier League tie. I think it's been named the Eddie Howe Derby, as his former side currently looking to get one over on him and join Manchester City in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Macclesfield also there after stunning Crystal Palace earlier today. City here probing for more. Doku on the left into the penalty area, looks to be cleared away by Exeter, edge of the box, chance to shoot, cuts back, Lewis puts it just past the post. Another opening there for City on the edge of the penalty area. Fell kindly for Rico Lewis, whose right-footed drive just flashes the wrong side of the upright from his point of view, and it remains after 67 minutes, Manchester City 6, Exeter City 0.
Yeah, Doku went on a run. They couldn't quite beat his man. The defender cleared it. It came out to Silva. He shaped as if he was going to hit it. Played a little pass round the corner to Lewis. He had one touch, give the keeper the eyes, and tried to place it in the other corner, and it didn't quite work for him. But very good play from Lewis, I have to say.
City win the possession back. Doku rather dramatically volleys the ball all the way back towards James Trafford on the edge of his 6-yard area. Rare touch for him in the second half of this one. Just plays it out towards Bernardo, who carries it up towards the centre circle. Right hand side, ball almost goes astray there as Kusanov has to be on his toes to collect before Mendes Gomez
almost there, wasn't he? He almost gave the ball away really easy, but he's gone into that holding role with Shirky, I think, just kind of lurking around the area. So it's slightly different in that kind of pivot role. Various players going in there. I think O'Reilly's just gone into there at the moment, so all taking turns.
As Mendes Gomez comes forward for Exeter. Lofted ball out towards the left-hand side, collecting by Higgins. He's just put under some pressure by Kusanov, gives away the free kick, and a chance here for Exeter City to swing the free kick into the penalty area from the left touchline.
Kushner was after him. His pace, when he was too quick in the end and ended up running into him, pushing him over. But if he'd have waited just a moment longer, he was going to win the ball all day long. Very, very quick in reading the game. And something, again, as we've talked about, Manchester City winning the ball back as quick as you can when you lose possession.
Jim Whitley alongside myself, Josh Watton, BBC Radio Manchester, and available on BBC Sounds as our every FA Cup game from now onwards. As a ball from Exeter comes into the penalty area, there's a free header in there. Fitzwater didn't seem to anticipate it coming, meets it with the head, but just puts it well wide past the post. That was a real chance there for Exeter City. Goes wide, remains 6-0 to Man City.
Oh, unbelievable. Great ball in. He's had a free header. He's gone in between two players. I don't think he realised how free a header it was. I think he almost closed his eyes. I'm not sure if he thought it was going to hit his shoulder, but he actually got a head to it, put it wide. He'll be disappointed with that.
Now it's City who have a free kick on the left, taken quickly by Bernardo just to roll it into the path of Ryan Shirky. City just begin to press and probe again. We'll be bringing you reaction to this game between 5 and 6. You can also get all of the reaction and latest news on your club over on BBC Sounds. Just search for your team. So if you're a Manchester City fan listening along, search for Manchester City, click subscribe, and you'll be notified when any new content is available. As Bernardo collects the ball shy of the halfway line, rolls it into the feet of O'Reilly, who carries it laterally before feeding it towards Kusanov. Shirky this time has made his way out towards the right hand side of the field to get involved, collecting. He and Kusanov just exchange a couple of passes between each other. It is resembling something of a training ground exercise here for Manchester City now as they advance towards the penalty area again. Reiners with the 1-2 on his right foot, no space for him to shoot, but lays it off to Bernardo Silva, finds Doku on off the bench, brings it onto his right foot, just looks for an opening, instead lays it off to Reinders. 7-0 to Manchester City. Brilliant finish from Tiani Reinders. Doku lays it off to him, one touch to set himself, the second to bend it into the far corner. Manchester City are running riot in the third round of the FA Cup. City 7, Exeter 0.
That was excellent play with Manchester City. Shirky pulling the strings in there, little 1-2s right all around the pitch. Eventually the ball came out to Doku, who taunted 3 or 4 players in the box. He's played it back out to Silva. Silva's played it across to Reinders, and it's Reinders who is a beautiful technician, I have to say, in striking the ball, and he hit that with his right foot, side foot, with a little bit of bend, and it's gone into that right hand side. Missed out all the players. Wonderful strike, I have to say. but give someone with that quality that much time, and that's the end product.
This has been professional, composed, and quite frankly brilliant from Manchester City, showing all of their class. Exeter haven't really laid a glove on them this afternoon. 7-0 the scorers. The score is with 7 different goal scorers as well. An impressive afternoon for Pep Guardiola's side. Granted, one of those was an own goal from Fitzwater just before half time, but City really found their mojo this afternoon in the FA Cup.
Absolutely. I think it's the chances they've had in the last 3 games, they haven't quite made it into the back of the net. They're making up for it this afternoon. I have to say, almost every chance has gone in. It's wonderful to see from Manchester City.
Mendes Gomez from distance over the crossbar. It was ambitious. It'd have taken something special to beat James Trafford from there. Right-footed strike, just gets under the ball, puts it into the stand behind the goals. Gius from the City support remains 7-0.
Yeah, he's tried it. Why not? They're losing 7-0 at the moment. Why not have a shot? He'll be kicking himself for not hitting the target, I have to say, because that's what you have to do. Try and make the keeper work and try and keep the game going. Very difficult now for Exeter. Heads are down. They know they can't get anywhere near it. They've tried all kinds of things. It's too much quality and too much work rate from Manchester City. You talked about being professional, Josh. This is being professional. No one's doing anything special. They're still moving it, doing one-touch, two stuff, moving into space, trying to win the ball back when they lose possession, and it's been absolutely brilliant to watch.
7-0 the score. BBC Radio Manchester. 73 minutes on the clock here at the Etihad. Bolton have a slightly smaller hill to climb. They trail at London Road against Peterborough. Watching this one, Jack Dearden.
At the moment, Josh, it looks like it might well be 7 as well here, because they're not making a great deal of headway. All 5 substitutes have now been used as well by the head coach Stephen Schumacher. Wanderers did have an opportunity to get it back to 3-2 as Peterborough clear another raid down the right hand side, but an unbelievable miss, one-on-one from Burstow, rolled it past the far post. That would have given them hope had it gone in, as it should have gone in. It didn't. It was wide of the far post. Bolton better in the second half, in fairness, but trailing by 3-1.
Thanks, Jack. We'll keep you updated with the closing stages of that one. Hopefully it isn't 7 for Bolton, as their tough run on the road continues in League One. This result, again, not what Stephen Schumacher's side would want. Exeter with a rare attack. They just roll it up towards the halfway line, and Gary Caldwell's side came into this one in decent form. It seemed as though they turned a corner in the league. They're unbeaten in 3, winning 2 and drawing the last one against promotion contenders Huddersfield. In fact, they've only lost 1 in their last 6 games in all competitions, but they've been really caught out by a Manchester City masterclass this afternoon at the Etihad Stadium as we approach 75 minutes on the clock here. 7-0 the scoreline, but Exeter with a free kick and another chance here to make something work inside the penalty area.
Yeah, just they've all set up at the back. All the defenders are back here, trying to keep a clean sheet. As we said, Trafford would love a clean sheet. It's great getting the goals. The ball comes in.
Yeah, at the far post, headed back in towards the penalty area. City struggling to clear the lines here. He lands on the edge of the D before a right-footed half volley away from Lewis, as there's a City player left in the penalty area, just looking as though he's in a bit of discomfort. The referee calls the physios on from the touchline. They're a little bit late to react.
I think it was Mafinho actually that went into the back of him, and he's hurt his head, which is why they've stopped the game. But I think it was just a clash of heads from his own player, as Mafinho's holding his head right now as well, actually.
As we have a break in play, the Exeter players just come across towards the dugout in front of us to take on some refreshments here. Gary Caldwell just issuing a few instructions to his side. Of course, won the FA Cup with Wigan Athletic back in 2013 against Manchester City. His side haven't seen the same fortunes this afternoon. 7-0 the score. City with a masterclass, and there's always a lot of talk. We spoke about the young players at the start of the half that have come on for this second half. I'm looking at the likes of Mfunny, McKady, who started, Musaka. Pep Guardiola doesn't seem to like loaning his young players out. He likes them to come through the ranks and then get the opportunities in games such as this one, and it's fair to say that they are taking them, aren't they?
Absolutely. And as a youngster, when you come into a side with the experience I've had now, you don't want to come in with a load of other youngsters. because there's no one there to lead. So when you come into a side with so much experience in there, the Ballon d'Or winner there, with Haaland as well, and everyone else within that structure, you learn very quickly, and you listen to what instructions being given. Also, you've got a manager like Pep who tells you exactly what to do. But they've come into the right environment. It's a good team to play against. It's not a Premiership team that they may struggle against. So everything is set up for them. But then, as a player, you have to take your chance. And I'd have to say they've all done excellently this afternoon. Done what's needed. Done being very professional, as you talked about before, Josh. Taken on instruction. Won the ball back. One thing as a youngster, you have to have the work rate playing for Manchester City. And these youngsters here have definitely shown that. There's still a lot to learn as they come face against bigger, better opponents. But right now, they've done everything that's needed. And as the scoreline shows, and it's not all Haaland that scored all of them, which is, again, something different. To see other players on the score sheet is magnificent, and I'd like to see that more in the league, if I'm honest with you, Josh.
Funny has the ball and carries it up towards the halfway line. Fulham have come from behind at Craven Cottage to lead Middlesbrough 2-1 in their FA Cup third round tie. Bit of a thriller as well in South Yorkshire as Doncaster now trail Southampton by 3-2. And Funny darts down the centre of the field, plays it out towards the right. City on the move again. McAdoo, edge of the area, looks to bring it back on his left foot, takes deflection, corner kick to Manchester City, and McAdoo again causing problems on that far side.
Mafinha's not scared to drive into space, I have to say. He looks very composed in the ball for such a youngster coming into the side, but very, very confident and looking to bring other players into play.
Into the penalty area, headed goalwards, and it creeps in off the post. Nico O'Reilly gets in on the act this time. A deft header curls and clips the post on its way in. Another goal for Manchester City, another goal they deserve, and another different goal scorer this afternoon. Manchester City 8, Exeter City 0.
That was a very, very difficult header, I have to say. He was running towards his own goal in the 18-yard box of the opposition, and he's managed to turn a ball that was coming in. Very, very difficult. Yes, he was running away from goal, and he's had to put, so much power and effort into it. I don't quite know how he's got so much power into that header, I'll be honest with you. But that's the 6'5" odd frame of him that's done that. A brilliant header from O'Reilly, and something I'd probably like to see from him and Haaland, more headers. That was great finish from him.
On as a substitute in this for Nico O'Reilly, who was dropped to the bench for the midweek game against Brighton after starting the last 11 league games. He's certainly impressed, which has seen him called up for the national side by Thomas Tuchel on the last two occasions, as well as Exeter City have the possession. They're lining up another substitution for the final 10 minutes of this one. It is Edward Francis, who's just going through his final preparations before being introduced, but Manchester City will have a throw in deep inside their own half of the field. Jim Whitley certainly wouldn't bet against Manchester City getting at least one or two more.
There's still 10 minutes to go, yes, absolutely. As Exeter's heads go down, it is looking that way as they break now.
The ball over the halfway line. Jamie Doku bundled over, the yellow card given. City were away there. The referee Adam Herzig didn't really have much option. Doku trying to get in on the act in behind there as well, and a cynical challenge came in.
It was. It started with Shirky near his own goal line, to be honest with you. Had a little flick of the ball, flicked it up, cleared it, went long. It dropped down, the ball was flicked on again, and Doku was through. He got a touch to the ball and was away. He wasn't the last man, but I've seen people sent off for that, but some would say it's a professional foul. Stopped him in his tracks, and he got booked for his efforts. Doku's alright, he's up and fit as O'Reilly stands over the ball, and it looks like two more extra substitutions.
Yeah, Ethan Brierley makes his way off. Once had trials here at Manchester City, was told he wasn't good enough, went and played his trade at Rochdale before joining Exeter City. Also coming onto the field for the Grecians, George Birch has 8.5 minutes or so to try and impress in this one. It's going to be Liam Oakes who makes way for him after a difficult afternoon on that left-hand side, up against Ryan McAdoo on debut for Manchester City. 82 minutes coming up on the clock here on BBC Radio Manchester. Manchester City 8, Exeter 0. Here also on 5 Sports Extra and available via BBC Sounds. Manchester City in action again on Tuesday night. They're up at Newcastle in the first of their 2-legged semi-final of the League Cup. I think it's usually this point in the season where Pep Guardiola starts to get asked about a quadruple. Well, he's still in all 4 competitions at this moment in time as they look to advance up the right-hand side as they try a little rainbow flicking towards the corner, but Exeter City managed to read it and it's cleared up towards halfway. But there's just simply no outlet for Gary Caldwell's side, collected once again by M. Funny. James Trafford on the edge of his box, waving, maybe just wanting a little bit of the action, but instead City advanced down the right once more. Kuznov played it into the path of McAdoo as well before City opt to recycle the possession around the back.
I have to say then, yeah, Shirk he's been pulling the strings, but on that occasion he tried a little flick over a player. For me, it almost looks like showboating. I'm not a big lover of that. If I was a player there, I would definitely be trying to get into him. They're doing well, and you know, the 8 goals to 0 up. I'm not a big lover of that, starting flicking balls over to make it look like you're showboating. But look, he's got the skills to do it, which a lot of players don't. But he's been very skillful this afternoon. He has ran the show from midfield, and he's been absolutely brilliant all afternoon.
Jeremy Doku looked to advance into the penalty area on the left-hand side, but was denied by the offside flag as he tries to get in on the action. That just allows Exeter City the chance to clear it over the halfway line through the free kick, which resulted from the offside flag going up. Manchester City's record FA Cup win, in fact, came back in 1890. It was 12-0 against Liverpool Stanley, so they need 5 goals if they're going to beat that this afternoon, and they're on the hunt for another one again up the right hand side. The ball into the path of Shaky once more, right at the penalty area. Fitzwater just beats him to it, plays it out towards Woodhouse in the left centre back position of Exeter. They play the 1-2 before it's fired up towards McGuinness on halfway. Does well to win the header, just nods it down and into the path of Higgins as he looks to get Mendes Gomez on his way across the halfway line. Those two exchange the 1-2 as they advance into the City half. Left hand side, Exeter have the chance to try create some inroads, but the substitute George Birch opted not to advance on the penalty area on that occasion. Goes back to towards his own half, loses out, and now here comes Tiani Reinders with the chance to break forward. Right hand side, Shaky has it, options in the middle, 2 in sky blue awaiting. Will he eventually get the cross in? Just looks to stand Woodhouse up, brings it back on his left foot, plays it back down the line where Lewis collects, does fall towards the edge of the area. The shot comes in eventually from McAdoo, straight into the gloves of Joe Whitworth. He makes a save on that occasion, and it remains City 8, Exeter 0.
I'd love to see him hit the ball more. As I said, we watched him in the warm-up and he was absolutely unbelievable, so I'd like to see more of him on that front. City at that point just lost a little bit of their shape, especially in midfield. But it just meant that when they won the ball back, they were straight through, and it was O'Reilly that drove through the midfield with Reinders.
Masaka on the edge of a loose ball towards the penalty area, right hand side. McAdoo shoots, and McAdoo finds the back of the net. A debut goal for Ryan McAdoo to cap off a splendid game for him. In from the right hand side, drills it in left footed, beats the goalkeeper. Manchester City 9, Exeter City 0.
That's his second shot. He looked dangerous on that left foot, and he's had chance to look up, and he's drilled it with his left foot. I think it was still a side foot, a little bit of top spin on it. It's gone into that bottom left-hand corner of the goalkeeper's. A great strike. I'd love to see again some more of him, because he was a fantastic striker of the ball. He's only small, very jinky, still got a lot to learn, but he has got a wonderful left foot, I have to say. And it was Reinders that's been doing very well. It was on this occasion was Max Allen that played it out to him. Brilliant play from McAdoo. Very, very good.
Elaine, Rodri, Ake, Lewis, Semenyo, Reinders, O'Reilly, McAdoo, and an own goal. 9 goals for Manchester City, 9 different goal scorers. A superb afternoon in the FA Cup third round for them. McAdoo capping off a lively game for him. So we're into the final minutes here at the Etihad Stadium. City a comfortable afternoon for them. Is there any sign of any hope for Bolton Wanderers at London Road? Jack Dearden.
Not much at the moment, Josh. Still trailing by 3-1. We're just about to enter the final 60 seconds of the normal 90, and all the changes now being made by Stephen Schumacher. A brief resilience at the commencement of the second half, but realistically Peterborough pretty much in control right from kick-off. Worrying times these for the Wanderers. They're trailing by 3-1.
Niskanen has it for Exeter on the right. BBC Radio Manchester with you till 6. 0800 218 2255, the number to call to have your say on any of the day's action. Macclesfield fans, we want to hear from you. The biggest shock in FA Cup history, the first time a 6th tier side has knocked out a team in the top division in the competition's 154-year history. Again, the number 0800 218 2255. Bolton fans, just how worried are you? Is your race for promotion derailing in front of your eyes? 3-1 they trail currently at London Road in the dying stages of that one. And Manchester City fans, just how impressed have you been at this? 9-0 the score. They're looking to make it into double figures as they advance up the right hand side again. We want to hear from you on any of the day's action. Lewis in the possession for the Sky Blues. 1-2 with Bernardo, right hand side of the field. Bernardo collects a loose ball before turning it back towards Kusanov, out towards the right hand side where Funny collects. Just puts his left foot on the ball before Kusanov in his bright orange boots jogs tenderly into the Exeter half of the field, takes it out towards the right. Silva towards the penalty area, looks to feed it through the gap, looking for Lewis. He advanced on the penalty area, just beaten to it. It's put in the stand opposite us here as City attack the end to our left. Manchester City with the throw-in. 7 minutes of added time between Bolton Wanderers and Peterborough United. Bolton need 2 goals if they're going to salvage a draw from that game. City here still on the hunt, and I think the travelling Exeter fans and maybe the Exeter players as well will have one eye on the 4th official as he readies his board, because I think they'll want to get back on the M6 as soon as possible as they have the possession inside their own half of the field until Doku nips in, wins it back, just runs into a bit of traffic though as Josh McGuinness collects, turns it out towards the right hand side where Carlos Mendes Gomez can advance forward. Niskanen in support, finds him as well. O'Reilly back defending, stands firm, left foot in for the tackle, wins it back. Pass goes astray though. Exeter have it, edge of the area, Hurst, left-footed, oh my word, that is probably the goal of the afternoon, left-footed from the substitute, into the top corner, George Birch, you simply do not stop those, and the travelling Exeter supporters have something to smile about. Gary Caldwell fist bumps the air, Manchester City 9, Exeter City 1.
What a fantastic goal, I have to say. It started way up the pitch with Doku, gave the ball away. He managed to get it back again, but he couldn't quite keep control of it. The ball then went up the pitch. Reinders managed to nick it back. He's tried to play a ball into Shirky, and that got intercepted. And Birch, he has hit that. He's dragged it onto his left foot, Birch. He's shaped to hit it with his right, brought it onto his left, and he's hit one with his laces. Another day that might have ended up in Rosette, but today it's gone right into the top corner. James Trafford will be gutted about that, and so the defenders. They wanted a clean sheet. It's great having all the goals, but you do need a clean sheet.
Shirky looking to hit back for City into the penalty area. There's a shot into a crowded 6-yard box, cleared away up towards halfway line where Josh McGuinness collects, plays it towards a goal scorer, George Birch. Well, it's been largely an afternoon to forget for Exeter, but I don't think he'll be forgetting that one in any hurry.
No, not at all. James might look at himself and wonder if he was lively enough, he'd have kept himself there, but it was a fantastic finish.
Doku towards the penalty area, Reinders backheel towards Jeremy Doku, this for 10. It's a real mess inside the 6-yard box. A shot eventually comes in into the roof of the net. City hit double figures in this one. Incredible afternoon for the Sky Blues. They didn't let the goal they conceded affect them. It is Lewis who claims it, punches the air. 10 for City. Man City 10, Exeter City 1.
Incredible. So every time they go forward, they look so dangerous. And there's occasion it was Doku who was in the box, chased it round, pinballed through a couple of players. It came back to him. He's managed to tow it away to Lewis, and the ball jumped up into the air. Lewis has volleyed it right into the roof of the net, just outside the 6-yard box. fantastic play, technically excellent as well. He could have volleyed that way into the stand. Good play from Manchester City. Every time they go forward, they look like they're going to score. They really do. The defenders, I would not like to be a defender for Exeter right now. It's great to get the goal, but wow, they are opened up on every occasion.
Exeter's reprieve was short-lived and City hungry for more. Into 3 minutes of stoppage time. We've played 2 of them already as Doku has a possession on the left. Challenge comes in from Niskanen, throwing to the Sky Blues. 10-1 the score to Manchester City.
Even Max Allen has moved forward in this occasion. They're trying to get the ball as the defenders have rotated. It's now Nick O'Reilly is filled in as Max Allen stays up front. Unbelievable rotation. Very, very confident on all of them.
As the challenge comes in, City have a free kick around a yard or so to the right of the centre circle inside the Exeter half of the field. Again, the number to call to have your say from now until 6 0800 218 2255, whether you support City, Bolton, who are losing, or Macclesfield, who've had that fantastic result earlier today. Stockport County also won in League One as well. A late goal for them saw them beat Huddersfield Town. Stockport fans, you can have your say. Is your charge for the top 2 back on track? 0800 218 2255 at BBC RM Sport on X, with you on BBC Radio Manchester and BBC Sounds until 6 p.m. Doku has it, edge of the area. Lewis looks to feed it through towards Reiners. Challenge comes in. Exeter have the free kick. Referee blows his whistle, which signals the end of the game. And what an afternoon it has been for Manchester City. Comfortable, professional from Pep Guardiola's side. They cruise into a 4-0 lead at half-time. They've scored 10. They've had 9 different goal scorers. Lewis, the man with a brace. Semenyo with a goal on debut. However, George Birch's strike for Exeter, probably the pick of the bunch. That gives the away side something to smile about. But on the whole, a brilliant afternoon for Pep Guardiola's side. It's finished here at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 10, Exeter City 1.
So no clean sheet for Manchester City. They'll be absolutely kicking themselves, but they are into the 4th round of the FA Cup. They have scored 10 against League One Exeter. No such struggles for City as Crystal Palace had. The holders are out of the FA Cup, beaten in a memorable afternoon at Macclesfield. Manchester City safely negotiating their way into the next round with a 10-1 win over Exeter. The thoughts of Jim Whitley to come very shortly. Let's head to League One ourselves though. Deep in stoppage time, and it looks like 1 win in 6 for Bolton Wanderers. Jack Dearden.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be wrong there, Bill. Here come Peter again, looking for the 4th goal. We are in the very closing seconds of what has been an eventful but desperately disappointing afternoon for Bolton Wanderers. It's nowhere near good enough, this, by Bolton. Ponderous in defence, wasteful in midfield, and lacking any real punch up front. Goals from Jimmy J. Morgan and Garbett established an advantage for Peterborough. Brief hope when Dolby pulled one back for Bolton, but it lasted barely a minute. Lisbon fired a third to make it 3-1. Mason Burstow summed up a miserable afternoon for the Wanderers when he missed one-on-one with the goalkeeper, rolling it past of the far post. As you've already alluded to the fact, it is 1 win in 6 now, and that means that early season promise is in real danger of disappearing. Stephen Schumacher and Wanderers need to find a solution soon.
Thank you, Jack. Not finished there. We will get a full-time confirmation, but unless there is a dramatic comeback from Bolton later on, they are heading for defeat at London Road. Jim Whitley, Manchester City here though, as the Exeter players take the applause of the away fans who have remained right until the bitter end. Manchester City, I mean, you're kind of on a hide into a nothing in a game like this. Everyone expects you to win. If you don't, it's crisis time. Everyone's mocking you. All you can do is go out and do your job. Pep picked a strong team, but that team that he picked has not only done the job, they've done it emphatically.
I don't think anyone saw that coming. And like you said, everyone expects him to win it. Probably not in that fashion. Off the back of the last 3 games, I know there'll be a lot of people who don't like Manchester City would be hoping that Exeter would have done something to stop their run of games. But they were absolutely magnificent in everything they did today. the way they moved the ball around. Cherky, for me, pulled so many strings in midfield, up front, very silky. I thought it was fantastic. And I've just watched a lot of the coaching staff and players hug all the youngsters that played and the ones that came on, because they were magnificent as well, I have to say, Bill.
Yeah, and to a man, I mean, you pick a strong team. Clearly, you know, Roger and Haaland only played the first 45. That was clearly part of the plan, was you can have 45 minutes, I'll play you from the start, try and have an impact, and they did. In terms of the game, in terms of the way City approached it, I mean, off the back of the disappointments in the league, dropping points, losing ground to Arsenal, they've just been so professional today. That's the word that comes to mind.
Bill, I can't tell you, it's very, very easy to sit back and think we're only playing Exeter. This is going to be an easy game. Their form hasn't been great, so they just thought that, as a lot of teams normally do, is they come in these FA Cup games and think we'll turn these over. Manchester City didn't. They went and played as professionally as they could, as if they were playing another Premiership side. They did everything that was needed, simple passes, moved the ball, worked hard, and won the ball back when they lost possession high up the pitch, and this enabled them to get the goals that were needed for Pep's side. And I thought they were absolutely magnificent. In all the times that I've watched Manchester City, I have to say, I know the bookies are probably going mad here that of this scoreline, but that was, for me, some of the best passing in midfield. The 5-10 yard, what we used to call the ticky-tacky passing that I have seen. I have to say, they moved it, they played it around, it started from the back, it went through the middle, out wide, and they were fantastic. I was so happy for Semenyo, I have to say, in how he adapted himself, because when you come into a game like this as a newbie, and even some of the youngsters in Macedo, it's very, you think that you have to do more, and that's not the best thing to do. And Semenyo, I have to say, after a little bit of a shaky start at the beginning of trying to do too much, ended up getting into the Manchester City way, passing, moving, and got his just rewards in the end, Bill.
Well, everyone who has been here today watching Manchester City has been thoroughly entertained. The debut for Antoine Semenyo, 10 goals, as Josh said, from 9 different goal scorers. The only man who will be going home disappointed slightly tonight, I think, Jim Whitley. Obviously the Exeter supporters, but they've had a good day out. But James Trafford, who has done absolutely nothing wrong and has been beaten by an absolute screamer into his top corner right near the end.
Yes, I spoke to Josh about this, and how, you know, he might look and think, as a goalkeeper who's not done anything for the game, you have to stay motivated, you have to stay concentrated, and he'll be kicking himself, could I have done anything better? But at times you just have to look, and there's so much analyse you can do, but on that occasion I have to say that was just a magnificent strike. Unless he was stood in that top corner at the time, it was very difficult to stop it. But yes, he will be gutted that they were so dominant and that one goal went in.
Yeah, I think you could have had Donnarumma and Trafford in goal together and they might not have saved that one. It was just one of them strikes, but he will be a little frustrated because he'll have wanted the clean sheet. Nevertheless, he has played a part in a historic FA Cup victory for Manchester City by 10 goals to 1 against League One Exeter here at the Etihad this afternoon. You're listening to Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. The action is done for now. It is your chance to have your say for the next hour. We will bring you reaction from the Manchester City camp to this 10-1 victory. We will talk, of course, about Macclesfield's historic win over Crystal Palace and another defeat for Bolton. Jack Dearden.
Yes, another one, and lots of problems that need to be solved very quickly and soon after this desperately disappointing defeat by 3 goals to 1. And those problems and issues lie in all areas of the pitch. This loss and the manner of it is bound to cause concern for Stephen Schumacher and the travelling army of Bolton Wanderers fans. Wanderers well beaten here at London Road. Peterborough 3, Wanderers 1.
Total Sport.
Call us now 0800 218 2255 or find us on social media.
BBC Radio Manchester.
So Macclesfield are into the 4th round of the FA Cup after the biggest upset in the competition's history.
It's pulls to defensive. Oh my goodness me! Buckley Ricketts has sent Macclesfield FC 2-0 up against the FA Cup holders. Scenes of absolute delirium at Moss Road.
Mac beat the cup holders Crystal Palace 2-1, the first time ever a team from the 6th tier has beaten a top flight side in the FA Cup's 155-year history.
It's incredible. It still doesn't feel real. Obviously before the game we were talking about the bit of hope and listening to the FA Cup, but did they really believe it? No, probably not.
That's the Mac boss, John Rooney. So, Macclesfield fans, are you out celebrating already? Tell us, how great a day was that at the Moss Rose, and who do you want in the FA Cup 4th round draw? You can call us right now on 0800 218 2255. As for Manchester City, they hit double figures against Exeter.
The shot eventually comes into the roof of the net. City hit double figures in this one. Incredible afternoon for the Sky Blues. They didn't let the goal they conceded affect them.
Yeah, clinical too. 21 efforts, 10 of them on target, and a 10-1 victory for Manchester City. Blues fans leaving the Etihad this evening, give us your thoughts. Where were all those goals when you really needed them against Sunderland and Chelsea in recent league games? Brighton here, or is that a statement winning the FA Cup that reminds everyone City are going nowhere? Give us your thoughts. 0800 218 2255. It's just one win in 6 for Bolton now. They fell to defeat at Peterborough.
Here come Peterborough looking for a third goal, and they've got a third goal in at the near post. That early season promise seems a long way away.
And Stockport County left it late, really late, but Benny Andreasen's 96th minute goal secured all 3 points for them.
Can he get a cross in here? Akeke, he can. It's looped to the back post, and it's turned in! And it's Stockport County who've won it right on the full-time whistle.
Yeah, good win for Stockport. In the Women's Super League, Manchester United held on for a point. That's despite being down to 10 against Arsenal. So the action is done. For the next hour, we have reaction to all today's football. You'll hear from the Macclesfield camp, from the Manchester City camp, and from the Bolton boss after another defeat. And we want to hear from you. This is your chance to have your say.
Total Sport.
Call 0800 218 2255.
BBC Radio Manchester.
This is Total Sport on BBC Radio Manchester. Bill Rice live from the Etihad Stadium this evening. City then beat League One Exeter by 10 goals to 1 in the FA Cup this afternoon. I think that is the first time City have hit 10 since November 1987. When Huddersfield lost 10-1 to Manchester City. We'll get the stat boffins back at BBC Towers to check it out. It's certainly not a scoreline you see very often. I mean, we've seen a lot of 9-0s in recent years, Jim, but to hit that magic 10 figure doesn't happen very often. City had to concede one before they got there, but they got the 10.
They got the 10, and it's not something you go for at the beginning of a game. We're going to score 10 on this occasion, because you never know what your opposition might bring to the plate. So just to keep going and getting the goals from so many different players, for me, is a positive. I think Pep will also look at the games that have passed previously, in that they're still getting chances, which is the most important thing. I think you're in trouble if you're not getting the chances. But today everything went well. Near the end, whenever they went forward, it looked like they were going to score. And Pep will be delighted about that, but I think he'll also be gutted about that one goal that they conceded. However, going forward, if they can take that into their league form, knowing that other players can score is a big plus for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one in many respects, isn't it, Jim, to analyse and to sum up. I mean, what does it tell us about Manchester City, a result like that today? Does it tell us anything really in the grand scheme of the season?
Well, I think the good thing about that is he knows he can rely on his youngsters. He knows he can bring players in that can still do the job. He knows that even against a side that haven't been doing that well recently, that their work ethic is still up there, and that as professionals they've not brought their heads down. Very easy to do that in a game like this. So in terms of standards, yes, there's a lot of goals. But in terms of standards, and at the beginning, first half, there was a few scoffy goals that just went over the line, nothing special, but they all count, and they've all applied themselves very well, I have to say, and with that, he will take that into the league form, with the fact that the players have been very, very professional and have adapted themselves well, and they need to do exactly the same if they're going to try and get anything back on Arsenal.
Right, so City have beaten Exeter by 10-1 here this evening. If you want to talk to Jim Whitley and myself, Bill Rice, on BBC Radio Manchester, give us a call right now on 0800 218 2255. Which of City's goals was your favourite? Which of the goal scorers impressed you the most today? And what did you make of Antoine Semenyo on his Manchester City debut? A goal on debut and a very, very impressive performance indeed from him, following joining the City from Bournemouth in the transfer window. Also, the fact that Haaland and Rodri got 45 minutes and Rodri scored in that first 45 as well. Give us your thoughts on those goals and their performances as well. Jim, we're going to go straight to the callers here. Keon is a City fan in Burnage who has been listening to BBC Radio Manchester and keeping an eye on things this afternoon. Hi, Keon.
Hi, mate. You okay? Oh, what a win. Oh, man. Yeah. Buzzing. Very, very happy.
Go on. What did you make of it?
Well, I just want to say, I mean, all those people that said, oh, they're nothing without Haaland. Look at all those goals. 10 goals. None from Haaland. I love Haaland, but 10 goals. A very professional performance, healthy performance. You know, just we went out there, did the business. Feel sorry for Exeter a bit because, you know, they found us at the wrong time. We were very, very angry with the results lately. This performance was always going to happen. It was a when, not if moment, you know. So, and it's happened now, and hopefully we can take this into the league form. We really, really hope we can do that now. But history makers, record breakers, you know, it's what we do. So it's magic of the FA Cup for us. Hopefully now that can give us that lift, because we've got Derby Day coming up, and I bet United are looking at this thinking, we play like, you know, score the goals like this, you know, we're going to be ready, hopefully, to put 4 past them at Old Trafford, I hope.
Yeah, United take on Brighton in the FA Cup. You hear that game tomorrow on BBC Radio Manchester. Next Saturday is the Manchester Derby live from Old Trafford. Lunchtime kick-off, 12:30, and we will be there to bring you all the action on BBC Radio Manchester. You mentioned all those different goal scorers as well, Keon. I mean, considering what's happened recently in the league, was this the perfect response from City, the perfect kind of reply?
Yeah, well, definitely, because we know over the past 3 games it has been more the midfielders and attackers that haven't been doing their job. You know, defence-wise, we've been pretty good. So to see that they've all gone out there now and done the job and got the goals and found their feet, you know, again, and found where the net is really nice to see. You know, really nice to see Rico Lewis get a couple of goals. And Nico Reilly on the team sheet, and also I've got to really give a good mention to Matt Deline, you know, just recalling from Watford, getting thrown in the deep end, doing what he's done in the past couple of games as a young player is inspirational to many and just deserves a lot of credit in my opinion for what he's done. So yeah, I just want to give him his credit because he deserves it.
Yeah, really good shout that actually, Keon. We mentioned Antoine Semenyo before kick-off, Jim, and how impressive we were with that he's never given up and has kept battling through his career and got to this point now where he's signed for a club in the Champions League. But Max Allain, I mean, absolutely thrown in at the deep end, brought back in by City because of the defensive injuries. You know, really tough way to come into the team, and yet not only has he done well, but he scored today, and you know, you deserve that little bit of credit for the hard work.
No, I'm with you, Kieran, on that. It's fantastic when you come in as a youngster, especially in a back four like you have. To organise that is quite difficult for a youngster, and to organise Rodri just in front of you and telling him, I need you here, move here, it's very difficult to come into a side like that and boss these big first teamers around, and I think he's slotted in very, very nicely. He's also amongst a lot of good players around him, which helps, and which is why a lot of the youngsters today, when they came in and played, they're surrounded by very, very good players. And I'm also in agreement with you with the amount of goal scorers that they had today. It's something Manchester City used to have before, where you'd be scared of whoever was on the ball near the goal, not just Haaland. And I think it puts us in good stead to bring all the players up to go, actually we can score, we don't just need Haaland. Yes, I can have a shot if I need to, and it all paid off today.
Kean, were you surprised when you saw the starting lineup? Did you expect Pep to maybe rest a few more than he did?
I did, but considering the games we've had and the performances we had, maybe he wanted to say the statement, and go out there and really just show a job what we can do and what we're capable of. We know what we're capable of. It's just not been happening the past 3 games. So I think today was always going to be a strong lineup, and I'm glad he did, because it's also respect to the FA Cup. It's a great cup, and Exeter want to play the best version of City. I'm sure they do, the players and the manager and all that. So it was really nice to have that healthy, good lineup out, and also the youngsters, they did the job, you know what I mean? I just think today was very healthy performance and was very much needed to really get the fans back in confidence as well, ready for the big January we've got, and the big couple of months we've got, because we know it's the pinnacle of the season now into these coming months. And Arsenal, we want to make sure they don't run away with it. We want to at least give them a fight and hopefully get the title. That's the aim, but give them a fight and don't give up too easily, because that's not us, and we know that.
Yeah, you want to keep that pressure on, and if they're going to win it, you want to make them win it themselves by having to work hard rather than fall away and give them any kind of leeway or breathing space. You mentioned how big a few months it is. I mean, it's certainly a big period for City. You've got Newcastle in the League Cup Tuesday night, then you've got the derby against United next Saturday, Champions League fixtures to come as well. So the games come thick and fast at the minute, Keon. But have you seen enough today to tell you that City can still, have a real go in all 4 competitions this year?
Well, listen, realistically right now we are still unbeaten. We've not been beat in a while, so you've got to look at that since Leverkusen, if I'm not wrong. So still unbeaten, I know 3 draws, but still unbeaten and still having that flow. We've just been sleeping at the moment, sleeping in games we shouldn't have, and today really showed professionalism a lot, and the players were on it from minute 1 to 90, and like I said, Exeter were given a harsh lesson, but City had to go out there and perform today because of the recent results not going our way. But we needed fight, and we saw a lot of fight today and passion. And from the midfield and forwards doing what they needed to do, and into the Newcastle game now, semi-final leg 1, we need to make sure we take a result from that. It will be difficult. We want to go back to Wembley, and make history even more. We've just got a big couple of weeks and months ahead now, and listen, this is where City shine. We know these months City come out as monsters, so Arsenal are going to have to be thick and through. If they want to win this title, they're going to have to earn it, because we do show up in these last few months, 100%.
Kean, great to talk to you tonight. Go and enjoy your evening. I'm sure you will, after City put 10 past Exeter in the FA Cup this afternoon. Jim Whitley alongside myself, Bill Rice, on BBC Radio Manchester. 0800 218 2255 is the number you need if you want to give us a call and join us this evening. You can also send us a text to 81333. I've got me threes all confused in my head then. There's 3 threes. It's treble 3. 81333 or 81333. Anyway, 3 threes. That's what I meant. 81333s. I've probably confused you even more. Send us a text. Just ring us. 0800 218 2255. You mentioned Haaland. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's hear from Mark in Glossop, who is a City fan who's been at the game this afternoon. Hi, Mark.
Evening, fellas. You okay?
Yeah, I take it you're on your way back to Glossop rather than you've got back already. You didn't leave at half-time, did you?
No. No, luckily the goals are keeping me warm. It's certainly a different feeling from it was the other night anyway.
Mark, hold on. We'll be back with you in just a second. Just want to hear from City's assistant boss, Pep Linders.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Pep, just talk us through that. 10 goals in one afternoon.
It's special. No, it's never easy to have a game with 10 goals. We know that Exeter, when they play, when you let them play, when they have space, they play really well. But I think from the first minute, and even when we score more goals, we didn't let them settle. We didn't give them the chance to build, to find a free player. Our pressing, I think, was impressive today, especially when we lose the ball, the way how we stopped the counter and immediately were there. I think we scored 3 or 4 goals even, like we win it and we attack immediately and we score, so that's always good. And with time, I think for the fans, it was really nice to see the goal of Rodri, some individual performances. I think we respected them, even when we were winning, that we kept going and we, the way we defended them.
A great goal from Rodri, but when we're talking about highlights for individuals, when you look at that special moment for Ryan McAdoo and Max Allain as well.
Yeah, it's. I just said to the television, it's a compliment to our academy. It's something what we want. You see the Each single one of them, they have of course completely different attributes, but they can help us now and they can help us in the future for sure. It's about giving them a chance, so that creates hope for all the others. And like this, the club is healthy, because you have young players who can come into the first team, and it's a big compliment to our academy. And time after again, it shows that we have this qualities for us to help them, and that they stay humble and that they work hard, all these things. But for Makado, the way he played today, and I'm not talking about the individual skill because we all know this, but the fight and the desire to press and to go after them, that for me was the highlight.
You've got all these prospects coming through the academy, and then on top of that you just spent £65 million on Antoine Semenyo, who got an assist and a goal on his debut. You must be delighted for him too. Yeah,
he's someone we follow for a long time. I'm here for half a year, so I know how long we follow him, but he has something what we can add on our front line. It's a willingness to go in front of the goal. It's a willingness to attack quick, and for sure he can help us in the future. It's for us to let him feel comfortable and at home, and for him to adapt quick to how we want to play.
Well done today, thank you.
Thank you guys.
There you go, that's Manchester City's assistant coach Pep Lijnders, who was on the touchline today. Pep Guardiola watching from the stands, picked up a third yellow card of the season against Brighton. Apparently that's why he wasn't on the touchline, although he probably quite enjoyed sitting up here and watching that one. He certainly wouldn't have been, well, I was going to say wouldn't have been too stressed. It's Pep Guardiola we're talking about. He'd have been bouncing around all over the place. Anyway, talk about that in a second, Jim. Let's get back to Mark, who's been waiting patiently. Hiya, Mark. We'll pick up on a couple of things Pep Lijnders said there in a minute, but first off, just give us your reaction to today's game.
I just thought it was the perfect antidote for Wednesday. It was so frustrating, and Pep was asked whether he would play a strong side, and he said I'll make a few changes, and I'm glad he did, because he wanted to build that confidence. And there's two ways you can build up to this game. You either go strong and win it in the first half, or you try and see what the kids can do and then build in the second. I'm glad he did it this way, because it gave us that it was very comfortable in the end. Perfect scenario. The few debuts, obviously Semenyo's going to get the plaudits, because it was, again, it's the perfect end to his Bournemouth career and a perfect start to his City. And long may it continue. Took his goal very well, looked involved, looked hungry. But the kid on the right hand side, he looks one for the future. He's so quick. And a brilliant goal to tap it off.
Yeah, well, Pep Lijnders mentioned him there, didn't he? He mentioned Max Alleyne at the back, who obviously scored his first City goal, which was the opener, and then Ryan Makado, who looks a real handful, doesn't he?
He does. He looks that first 5 yards, and Jim will agree with that. When you've got that much pace and you can burn away from somebody in 5 to 10 yards, it's very difficult to recover as a defender, especially if you're on that last line. And he looks exciting. Obviously, we're going to judge him in a few years when he's got a few more games underneath his belt and he progresses hopefully into the first team. But that's a great debut for him. I love that bit in the corner. Was he hugging his family in the corner when he scored? I thought that was beautiful. That really was. That's as a parent myself, it's one of them when your kid makes a debut and scores a goal like that, you just want to be all around it. He'll love it tonight. He'll absolutely love it.
Yeah,
I just thought it was tremendous, and it's nice for the Exeter fans to score a goal as well. Some finish as well. It's a long way home for them, but for them to score a goal at our place, and the kid who scored again, that'll be a poster one as well, won't it? He scored at the Etihad. So. Yeah,
certainly will, and that'll be one for him to tell people in years to come. Before we go any further, Mark, let's hear from the City camp again. Rico Lewis started at right back this afternoon, and we're going to hear from him now. He's in the tunnel, and so is Josh Watson.
Well played, mate. Really well played.
Yeah, Rico Lewis is here. He's going to be speaking to BBC's Lee Blakeman.
Rico, many congratulations. Not many players can say they've played at a 10-1 game. How did you find that today?
Yeah, it was really good. First of all, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ, because without him I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be in the position I am right now. Speaking to you guys after a really good game. So yeah, all thanks goes to him. But yeah, it's an amazing game to be a part of. as a City player as well, it's our biggest victory, so something that, you know, it's going to be in history for a long time, I think. But, you know, all in all, it's a great game for the spirit of the team, and we'll take it into the rest of the season.
And the history books will always say you got a couple on the score sheet. Just talk us through them, because as I mentioned that, you're just grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah, obviously it's a nice feeling to score, you know, and it's rare for me to score two, get an assist. So, you know, in today's game there's a lot of goals and assists that are talked about, and you know, it becomes more important now than it was before. So it's nice to be getting a few of them, and hopefully I can continue to do that in the future.
When you look at the other younger players around you, and I'm looking particularly today at Max Allain, who scored, okay, Ryan McAdoo, who scored as well, you look so strong coming through the academy with the youngsters.
Yeah, I think it's the philosophy of the academy. We've always tried to model the first team from when we're 12 years old, so that's why we've all got such a similar connection. I think it's and it's credit to the club that they have this kind of structure, that, you know, they want to bring up players to put in the first team, and as you see today, 4, 5, 6 players that have all come through the academy, and now they're playing in the first team, and they look comfortable.
Well done today, Rico. Well done.
You must feel like one of the more senior players in this City side, looking at the lads who finished that game today, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, at one point I had the captain's armband, so I was a bit overwhelmed with that. But yeah, you know, something that, you know, in the future I look forward to being one of the more senior players that people can look up to, and today I kind of had that role for a little bit, and, you know, it felt good.
You found yourself out of the starting lineup in the Premier League. Did you feel as though today is your opportunity to maybe prove a point, and will you be knocking on the manager's door in the weeks to come?
I wouldn't say knocking on the door. I think all I can do is play as well as I can, and that speaks for itself. Yeah, it's frustrating, but, you know, you're in a team with the quality of these players, and we're doing well in the league, and, you know, you can't really complain, you just have to work harder, and that's what I did, and, you know, today I'm happy that that's paid off.
And you've got another big cup game in midweek as well. You're still going well in all 4 competitions, it seems. What's the mood like around the camp at the moment?
Yeah, obviously the last few games have been difficult because we feel like we could have got more from them, but it's never a negative feeling. It's more of a positive thing, as, you know, we played well, we didn't get what we deserve. You know, now that gives us a bit of fire to go and push for more.
Well done today, Rico. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go, that's Rico Lewis from Bury. He scored twice, 9 different goal scorers, wasn't it, for Manchester City in a 10-1 win against Exeter. He was the one that netted twice today. He has been out of the team recently. He said, you heard him there say, I won't be knocking on the manager's door, he said, Jim Whitley. But has he sort of made a little bit of a message to everyone, reminder of what he's capable of today?
Absolutely. I think all the newbies that have come in have made a statement. Like you said, he can only do what he can. When you come into a side, you've got to put a performance in, which he did magnificently, playing in that little hole in midfield, which he's very good at doing, I have to say. And so he will continue, as did I know Mark mentioned McAdoo as well. He was fabulous. That's what I've talked about him in the warm-up. His finishing was incredible. I did watch him and see what he did off the ball, and there's probably things to learn there, but Rico in particular has done magnificent, and he knows that there's rotation in Pep, and he knows that as the games come thick and fast, he has to make sure he's ready to jump in, which he will, I have no doubt.
We were talking to Mark from Glossop before Rico Lewis, so we better get back to him because we're keeping him hanging around in the cold. Sorry to keep you holding on there, Mark, but we wanted to hear from Rico Lewis. You heard it as well, hopefully. What did you make of what he had to say?
Oh, he speaks very well. He's a good, honest pro, and he put a great shift in today. Really pleased for him. He knows that he's not quite at the level to break into the full first team at the moment, but it's all about doing
This is 5 Sports Extra.
Spectacular. They're so open at the back at times, aren't they? I know they're committing players forwards to try to win. There's 2 balls on the pitch. Again, Evan Nielsen there with a cross which is blocked. Edge of the box. Newcastle through Botman. Poke it away. Helped on by Cook. There's a Bournemouth offside against Evan Nielsen. Tavernier's run onto it. Back to Truffert. First time cross. Good header by Botman. Cook straight at Voltemada. Away from the challenge of Hill. Still close to their own penalty box here, Newcastle, and Tonali has to run after Gordon's ball. I mean, Tonali will do
a few tired
that,
legs out there now, I'll tell you.
but he really is running with not much in the tank, Sandro Tonali. Ramsdale comes out to the near side and shepherds it out by leaning into Tavernier. Wins a goal kick, 2 apiece. Less than 10 minutes until a penalty shootout if there are no more goals. On for Bournemouth, Remy Rees-Dutton, 19-year-old forward who has made his only Premier League appearance here in their 4-1 Premier League win last season. His only other first-team appearance was in the third round of the FA Cup, also last January, in a home win over West Brom. He replaces Alex Scott. Gets a pat on the head from manager Andoni Iraola. I think, and I'd like to know what you feel, Ando, when they go forwards, when they're in the final third, I feel like things can happen, they look all right, but as soon as the ball is turned over, there are gaps.
They get stretched, yeah.
Joe Linton's just slipped on the far side, and Bournemouth, they're still playing with ambition, and they were doing that at 2-1 up. They weren't protecting a lead either.
No.
It's a Newcastle throw. The Joe Linton slip didn't lead to anything dangerous. Well, the assistant gave it Newcastle's way, and the referee seems to have overruled him.
Yeah, it came off a Newcastle short. We've seen it from here.
(22 of 30 minutes played in extra time on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds. And the volume increases at St James's. As Bournemouth have it on the far side, Evan Nielsen loses it. He wants a free kick, nothing given. Hall, his forward run is stopped by Tavernier, 10 yards from halfway. Bruno to Tonali, Bournemouth getting back and into position, into shape. Barnes, Voltemada has dropped off. I mentioned earlier when he was playing off Wisser that his positioning was similar to when he's up front, and his positioning up front here is again a bit deeper, not occupying defenders so much in the build-up phases. He's now gone up to the edge of the area between centre-backs Senesi and Diakite. This is Bruno, away from Cook, who slips, bit of space for Bruno, and a deep cross. It's flicked away by Bournemouth. Gordon retrieves near the corner. Back to Hall, who has a touch, puts it in. Diving header clear, brave diving header as well. And up the line, up the near side, Rees-Dutton stumbles slightly. Miley comes back to win it and play it inside to Chow. It's important work from Miley. Now Bruno's got a man on. Tavernier pushes it to Voltemada on halfway, on the outside to Tonali, and Newcastle with possession and a bit of space now for Sven Botman to stride into, over halfway. They go left to Hall, then back to Botman. 6 minutes remaining. Voltemada, good turn, still got space, up to Bruno, tried to squeeze it through for Gordon but got blocked off. Smith onto the far touchline against Bruno and wins a throw. And Smith's gone down to be fair to him. He's been struggling for a little while.
Been struggling for quite a while.
Do you think either team, Ando, looks likely to win it in extra time, or are you expecting penalties? I'm not trying to catch you out, I just wonder what you think.
Anything can happen. I mean, Bournemouth have probably had the best opportunities in extra time, haven't been able to take them. So you wouldn't like to say.
Well, there's a supporter near us, says get on with it, man.
Yeah.
In the direction of Bournemouth. They are now going to take the throw.
It's all right for you, sat there.
Energy sapping. 120 minutes almost. Smith is all right. Eventually, here comes the throw. It's in the middle of the visitors' half of the pitch. Bruno's got it back. Just more determined in the challenge in midfield. Now he looks for a forward ball for Gordon. Bournemouth win it. Gordon then nicks it back and gets tripped. Jimenez, the guilty party. This free kick is 5 yards outside the box, left of centre. Now Gordon took the last one, which was on the line. Tenali's grabbed the ball this time, and I think he fancies it.
Yeah.
And he might pull rank here.
Jimenez just left a leg, didn't he?
Don't know that he saw Gordon.
No, I didn't see Gordon. There's no intent in it. He just leaves a leg there. Gordon goes over it.
It would have to be something special from this distance. 3.5 minutes remaining. We've got Hall as well. I mean, they could put a cross into the box actually from this position. Gordon instead rolls it to Tenali! And it very nearly was something special. Not direct free kick, but the strike from Sandro Tonali. He caught that so well, and it was just wide.
Yeah, it's always rising as well. Decent strike. Connects well with it. Hits them well. He's never coming down though.
2-2 still. Newcastle have possession again. Joelinton onto Voltemada towards Tanali, but blocked. Bruno wins it back, takes it into his own half to Sven Botman. And his pass up to halfway to Joelinton, who tries to come inside. Bournemouth win it back, but Bruno has it. And here go United. Bournemouth retreating. Joelinton wide to Gordon. Lifted in. Harvey Barnes. Yes! Yes! He's done it again! Harvey Barnes is the hero with another dramatic goal. Probably another late winner. Barnes got up at the back post to nod in Gordon's cross. And Newcastle United, who had to come back in injury time at the end of the 90 with a penalty, have scored late again in the 28th minute of the 30 of extra time. Gordon's cross, and there was Barnes' back post to nod it in. More late drama, not quite at the epic proportions of Leeds the other night, but their FA Cup campaign looks set to continue, and coming from behind again, a good habit to have. Still a couple of minutes to play. Harvey Barnes, 11th of the season. Newcastle United 3, AFC Bournemouth 2.
Great header. He just gets up above the full-back back post. Goalkeeper stranded, doesn't even move. Ball hits the back of the net. And we've got a minute and a bit to play.
I wasn't sure that it had gone in.
I wasn't sure it had gone in either.
Because the goalkeeper just stood there, still in the middle, and the ball from Barnes just dropped into the bottom corner. It went in low down, possibly may have bounced on the goal line. I thought an attempt would have been made, but Petrovic couldn't get across. Now they've got to defend and not concede late, which had been a problem before Christmas and in their first half of the campaign. Maybe the situation will be reversed and they'll be the team that scores late and wins late and picks up points by coming from behind, rather than being on the receiving end of all of that. Seconds remaining. Bournemouth with it in the United half. Hill. Truffert heads on. Reece Dottin straight up Miley. And away it goes to Bruno, up the line. Tonali's found some more energy. A minimum of 2 additional minutes. Tonali still going. Taking it to the corner, I think. Cook with him. Senesi comes back. Tonali has thrown himself down. Don't think he was caught, but he's still down. And he's going to have to get up. The assistant referee next to him says, get to your feet. Tonali picks himself up. And Newcastle are a player short in the middle here as Bournemouth send it up to the edge of the area. Chow on his chest and then away into midfield. Cook down to Truffert through the legs of Joe Linton, intercepted by Chow. Barnes. He's got it back, Harvey Barnes. It hit him last and went out on halfway. I think they got that decision right to give the Bournemouth throw. A minute of the additional time at the end of extra time to go. One last opportunity maybe for Bournemouth. Tavernier trying to get in. Oh no! Tavernier has equalised and Aaron Ramsdale is furious with his defenders. Bournemouth in the second minute of added on time have pulled it back to 3-3 when it looked as though Barnes had won it in dramatic style for Newcastle again. And this probably is going to go to penalties. Unbelievable. Ramsdale came out and Tavernier made the run in behind Botman, and Chow was there as well, and he rolled it underneath the keeper. And
Botman's got to deal with it though. He's got to be stronger and he's got to lean in. He gets pushed, he gets leaned on. He's got to take control of that situation and stick it in the stand, stick it in row Z.
And it swings away from Newcastle again when they thought they'd won it. I mean, they were seconds away from winning it. And having said that maybe they're going to be profiting from late goals, old habits die hard, and it's that problem of conceding a result-altering goal so late that has reared its ugly head again. 3-3. And it's up to the referee now when the final whistle goes. Hang on, maybe they've got one more chance. Truffert, a terrible clearance. Tonali towards Barnes. He's got to cross it. He does. Goal!
Oh, he missed an absolute sinner.
In front of goal, just didn't connect with it. And he won it there with the last kick of the game. It's going to be penalties. The whistle's gone for full time. 3-3. Truffert made a right mess of the clearance. They got it to Barnes, and it was such an inviting cross in front of goal, laid on for Gordon. The defender
gets absolutely nothing on it.
Slid in to, I think it was Smith again, to try to put him off, and it worked. It succeeded for Bournemouth because Gordon didn't connect, and you thought he was going to be the match winner, and there was going to be more late chaos. But it's going to be penalties on BBC Radio Newcastle and BBC Sounds in the FA Cup third round. It's going all the way to a penalty shootout. Newcastle United against AFC Bournemouth. We'll bring that to you in just a moment as Newcastle and Bournemouth prepare their penalty takers and their 5 and any beyond. Let's catch up on the day's other scores. There are some late kickoffs that might be getting underway shortly as well. With all the details, Colin White.
2 penalty shootouts in a day for BBC Radio Newcastle. Newcastle United have won their last 2 shootouts. We haven't had an FA Cup shootout here for exactly 30 years and 1 week. That will come to us in just a moment. Newcastle United 3, Bournemouth 3. Sunderland 1 on penalties, 3-0. Robin Roos saved all 3 earlier on today. Leicester and Wolves were winners in the early kickoff. So too were Macclesfield of National League North, who beat Crystal Palace, the FA Cup holders. There were some big scores in the 3 o'clock games. Burton Albion won 5-0 at Boreham Wood. Burnley beat Millwall 5-1. Southampton held on to win 3-2 at Doncaster. They'd been 3-0 up at half-time. Fulham, who were 1-0 down at half-time at home to Middlesbrough, came back and won that 3-1. Ipswich held on to beat Blackpool 2-1. Blackpool scored a penalty in the 96th minute to make it a bit nervy. Manchester City were never nervy at any point and beat Exeter by 10 goals to 1. Brentford won 2-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke scored in the 88th minute to beat Coventry 1-0. The 4 games that kick off in the early evening will kick off in about 5 minutes time. 5:45 kickoffs. Bristol City against Watford, Birmingham at Cambridge, Weston-super-Mare at Grimsby, Spurs against Aston Villa, the only other all-Premier League tie in the third round, apart from the 2 that we've brought you commentary of today. Charlton-Chelsea is at 8 o'clock. You can probably hear the noise behind me because the teams are not far away now from beginning this penalty shootout for a place in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Let's rejoin Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson.
Total Sport North East.
The FA Cup.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Thanks very much indeed, Colin. Well, here we go again. They've had a lot of penalty shootouts in recent seasons. Newcastle, there was one at Nottingham Forest last year at the start of their successful League Cup campaign. FA Cup shootout at Blackburn that they won 2 seasons ago. The one that they didn't win was most recently was at Chelsea, when the Bournemouth goalkeeper Georgi Petrovic was in goal for Chelsea, and he saved from Kieran Trippier and Matt Ritchie on that occasion. The 2 sets of coaching staff line up along the touchline, and the penalties are going to be taken at the Leazes end of St James's. Last penalty shootout that was here for United was won against Crystal Palace in the League Cup on their way to their first of their 2 recent finals. Nick Pope was in goal that day. Today it's Aaron Ramsdale against one of his old clubs. He was furious with the goal that they conceded to make it 3-3, and everyone was disappointed, but he was
it was a poor goal.
Away, and he was angry.
You score with 2 minutes to go. You've got to see the game out. You've got to defend better than that.
Anthony Gordon with the first penalty. He was there to keep Newcastle in the cup in the 95th minute, Gordon, and scored at the Gallagher end. He takes the first in the shootout up against Petrovic, away to our left. Here comes Gordon, and he scores. Sends the keeper the wrong way, and he fired it in low to the left. 1-0 to Newcastle. Tavernier first for Bournemouth in the shootout.
Great penalty, wasn't it? Goalkeeper goes the opposite way to the ball.
Petrovic taps hands with Tavernier. Ramsdale gets on his line, clapping his hands together, now swinging his arms away. St James's Park trying to put Marcus Tavernier off, the man who took it to penalties with that very, very late goal. And he scores again, just squeezes it into the corner. A lot of power.
Good
Ramsdale
penalty.
got across, but it's it.
Yeah, good penalty. Just whips it across the goalkeeper. He's not stopping that. Too much power in it.
Next Newcastle penalty will be taken by Nick Voltemada, who scored from 12 yards in the Premier League against Nottingham Forest in October with a great penalty with an unusual technique, but he stuck that one into the top corner. And here in the FA Cup shootout, Voltemada, hands on hips, is ready up against Petrovic. It's a slow run up from Voltemada.